I'm manifesting through the pain. I reach for you like a fading ghost, like a vapor of smoke. You look back but didn't see me. One day you'll notice something missing, and you'll turn to look for me, and I'll be gone. Just a memory, a fleeting memory, forever chasing me like a haunted cemetery. Forever you'll be missing me. I'm manifesting through the pain, like a whisper lost in the rain. In the night I'd fading like a ghost train. You have only yourself to blame. An empty carriage, a corner full of pain, with ghosts standing in the rain. My memory, your pain. Just a memory, a fleeting memory, forever chasing me like a haunted cemetery. Forever you'll be missing me. I'm manifesting through the pain. In darkness you'll scream my name, but no one will hear. It's just you and your fear. I'll never be near. You'll imagine me, my hands touching, my ghost dancing. Looking into my eyes, you'll see all your lies. You'll remember all the tears I cried. Just a memory, a fleeting memory, forever chasing me like a haunted cemetery. Forever you'll be missing me. Just a memory, a fleeting memory, forever chasing me like a haunted cemetery. Forever you'll be missing me. Is it safe to fall asleep? Is it safe to dream? Eyes open to all these weird things. Alice knew what she had to do. Keep calm and journey on. A splendid time it could be, taking the high road blissfully. Time was ticking, the Mad Hatter was slipping, the mushrooms were kicking, the journey was about to begin. Hectic white rabbit racing against the clock, but Alice had another thought. She knew she ruled the plot, so she ate this and drank that. Was simple as tit for tat. Time was ticking, the Mad Hatter was slipping, the mushrooms were kicking, the journey was about to begin. A caterpillar smoke rings, he really thought he knew things. Two sides to the same thing, blowing smoke rings, cool and cryptic, but Alice didn't miss it. Big or small, Alice would not fall. Time was ticking, the Mad Hatter was slipping. disappearing, sitting in a tree, smiling constantly. A type of madness with clarity. As the Cheshire cat kept grinning, Alice took what she could and headed back into the woods. Time was ticking, the Mad Hatter was slipping, the mushrooms were kicking, the journey was about to begin. Mad Hatter tea party with dormers and hair, they could have lost their minds anywhere, but it was neither here nor there, for Alice really didn't care. Tea time with madmen, a swamp of thoughts. Alice got up and walked off. Time was ticking, the Mad Hatter was slipping, the mushrooms were kicking, the journey was about to begin. Unbothered so far, the Queen of Hearts with her guards. You're nothing but a pack of cards. You can paint the roses red and be off with their heads, but I'm still asleep in my bed. Time was ticking, the Mad Hatter was slipping, the mushrooms were kicking, the journey was about to begin. Alice remained unbothered, you see, for she knew it was all just a dream.
There's no place for old men, a breed going extinct, as the youth coddles each other, and love appears to be in the air. Breeze singing and trees living, a time of generations dying. The sea is full, yet so many are falling. Born to die in neglect, with their unreaching intellect. Two ages to be forgotten, the world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go. I shall transcend this life so bold. How age makes a man invisible. He wanders alone, tattered as his clothes. Forgotten soul finds song in his heart. Monuments of magnificent, the seas have taken me to Byzantium. Two ages to be forgotten, the world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go. I shall transcend this life so bold. Sages standing in holy fire, spiraling as the masters of my soul sing. Desire overwhelming, don't deny but consume my heart. I know not what it is, take me to eternity and unknown things. Two ages to be forgotten, the world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go, and I shall transcend this life so bold. Once free from this body, I'll never come back again. Not to this place I'll be where goldsmiths work. To entertain the lords and ladies of Byzantium, it matters not what is the past, or what is passing, or is to come. I shall transcend this life so bold.
All right, folks. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner. This is PRT. Join us in the real reality, and here's the real reality. The real reality is I am Zartan, leader of the Dreadnoks. They're from Australia. Apparently he's not, though. He never had an accent. Anybody ever wonder? I just realized that. Like, why were the Dreadnoks from Australia and he was... I think what it was is like Zartan was like a mercenary for Cobra, and then the Dreadnoks were his mercenaries or something like that. That's how it worked. Pretty sure. Yeah, I definitely nerded out on the image IDW. I read all those. I read the Ninja Turtle
IDW
ones,
made
too.
some good comics.
Yeah, they did good with the Ninja Turtles too, man. I was a Ninja Turtles fan, so I used to read all that stuff. But then fiction became like this. Not why is this? I look like Bobby from. You know, you can't help that my face is shaped that way, but I look like Bobby from King of the Hill. Why am I so white?
It's the camera setting. Let me adjust.
I'm very pale, Dad. Good grief. A bunch of crap going on. So here's a funny thing. Start with this. One of our residents at one of our complexes is a bully. And we know he's a bully, and he's always doing things that he's not supposed to be doing. He does things that bullies do. Right. And apparently one of our apartment complexes has a gym, not apparently, but it has a gym, and you can go in. This is funny. The ladies are going to love this one, right? And I'm not one of these virtue signaling, women could be treated like princesses. No, you treated the way you're supposed to be treated. All right? You act stupid, you get treated stupid. I'm not one of those. Trust me, I'm not one of them. I'm up here virtue signaling what I believe, and y'all women know this, and everybody knows this. The guys know this. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Okay? That's it's simple as that. I am not like, I don't know. I'm just one of those people. Like, I believe that God is fair and just, and that's how you should be, fair and just. Like, that's it, period. If you do wrong, you get treated wrong. If I do wrong, I get punished. If I do good, I get rewarded, or whatever. And really and truly, just going out and just doing good, you shouldn't put your hand out and go, oh, pay me, thank me for being a good guy because I did the right thing. You're supposed to do the right thing. Ain't nobody rewarding you when you're a Gen Xer for taking out the trash and doing what you're all that. In my household, it was no reward system. It was you can get your ass beat system.
Just
how about
punishment
that?
For doing wrong.
Yeah, you just get punished for doing wrong because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. There wasn't any of this like, oh, you did the good right thing, so you're going to get a reward. So we're going to get you a Happy Meal. My parents didn't care about my happiness. They weren't happy, so why should you be happy? That was their thing. I mean, like, it was like I would tell my dad, like I asked him one time as a kid, I remember, about happiness, and he goes, "Are you just not happy?" Because he's always they'll set you up with questions, right? And I'll be like, "Not really." He goes, "Well, neither am I. Let me tell you why I'm not happy." And then it was 1,000 things that I did that made his life not happy. And then it was like, oh, okay. So then you walk away going, geez, I suck because my dad's not happy. And my mother wasn't much different. It was like, happiness is, I wish I had happiness. I wish I could be happy. I work 90 hours a week. We have a lot of money in the bank. Can I have some? No. Even when you're an adult. Yeah, hey, I'd like to get started in life. You think you could help me out with a little bit of something? No. I work for my money. Why can't you? Because I'm 15. Well, that's old enough to get a job. I started working when I was 12, and I bought a house 2 weeks later. I was like, wow, you know what that's called? Being a boomer.
Yeah.
And then, oh, it's not about that. The hell it ain't. I love boomers. The good ones, not the greedy ones, the ones that took more than their fair share. I work with a guy who's a boomer. He's a pretty good guy. My dad, he can be a pretty good guy,
But
but
like no matter what you're going through, that they've been through
they've
worse
been
back
through
in their
worse.
day.
Yeah, they've been through worse. And
Yes, the back in my day routine,
but you got to remember too,
uphill both ways, and lava and
you
snow.
cannot win a war with the boomers. No way.
No,
And no matter how much
they suffered more than anyone else,
Yeah.
even though they inherited the greatest economy this
they've
country's ever
screwed
seen.
up everything.
Yeah,
But let me be honest here. The little shit ass generations below ain't much. They're not much better. All they want to do is bitch,
yeah.
put their hand out. I'm like, get away from me. So anyway, this guy, he's a bully, right? He likes to intimidate people. And one of the things he's done as of late is he tried to intimidate some females. One of them, actually, I didn't even know this. I found this out by, just get this. I learned this by reading the report. So I called my friend up, and I said, we call him T, and T-Mag. He's black and native. Like he's a real native, not one of these black people like, yeah, I'm Cherokee, yo, and no, you're not, yo, because you're just saying that, you know. Same thing, white people, they're like, oh, I'm Cherokee, really, because your blue eyes doesn't really speak Cherokee. Yeah, and so some of these people, they'll say that they're Cherokee. This guy really is. And so his girlfriend, she's a kickboxing instructor in San Antonio. So she was there visiting him and his sister because his sister lives there on the property. And I knew that. I found that out about a year ago because I saw her and she was like, Big Wolf. She was yelling at me from across the swimming pool. And I said, oh, what's up, girl? So we started talking. You know, she's a black girl, real loud. You know, everybody knows Terica. Her name's Terica.
Mhm.
Everybody knows Terica. He starts loud talking. Oh, okay. I've heard this before. And she's like, oh, you know, it's me, girl. You know, it's me. You know, whatever. That's how she talks, right? So she's with this other. She's on the phone. I just hear her saying, "Oh, girl, blah blah blah." And I'm thinking, I've heard this voice before. And then they say, you know, I hear Big Wolf. I said, what's up? You know. So we started talking. So I read the report, and I was looking at the reports this morning, and I was like, holy shit, there was a fight up there. So there was a big thing about it, you know, right? So I thought it was like two dudes getting into a fight. Well, this guy has talked a lot of crap, and our guards have gotten into it with him, like this close to getting into it with him in the face. And we had a guard for us, talked about him before, big Marine named Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Clark's 6'5".
Yeah,
he's like he's like 285. He's a big dude. He's a former Marine. He's a tough dude. That's Zane's uncle. That's my brother's former brother-in-law. Him and my brother are tight. They're like this. They're like best friends. And so Clark got up in his face. Was like, I'm about to whoop this dude's ass. He called me and was real hot. You know, I'm upset. So I go over there. The next day, he starts talking to me like all kind of crazy ways and stuff. And I said, sir, I know you're a resident. And he's kind of got in friendly with one of the managers or whatever. I said, but I've been knowing this. He goes, I know the manager. I said, I've been knowing this manager for 8 years. I don't care. I'm going to write you up. So he started with one of the females in there who was hitting the bag. So when she moved, you know how people hit the bag, they'll do like a circuit.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts doing the legs. She hits the bag. He goes over there and starts punching the bag. Right. Terica is one of those people that she tells me everything. Like something's going on, she'll tell me, right? She said, so this dude decides to go over there and start hitting the bag, right? And then the girl was standing there waiting. He looks over at this girl and basically tells her, like, well, you're just going to sit here and wait, right? Let me put Richard on here. What's up, Richard? So
hey, how are you, bud?
And she's like, okay, fine, whatever. Then she goes and starts doing her other routine, jump roping, doing her weightlifting, and then goes back over to start, waiting. He keeps doing it. And then he stands there, and just to be a prick, he holds himself up on the bag and says, I'm just taking a break. So this goes on and on. Eventually, he walks out of the gym, right? So my friend's girlfriend starts punching and kicking the bag, right? He comes back in there and starts trying to tell her to get off. Like I'm still working out, bitch. Why you tripping? Like tells her just like that, like right. A fight breaks out. This dude gets his ass whooped, like royally gets his ass beat because she is a straight up kickboxing coach and used to coach in like Las Vegas and shit and worked with like UFC fighters and shit. All right. Her and her husband have been coaching, and as long as I've known T-Mac, I think I met T-Mac in 97. he was wrestling, and everybody knows, like I'm friends with a bunch of wrestlers. One of the most famous one is Lance Hoyt. He's been on the show. He goes by Vance Archer. He used to be on WWE, but now he's on New World Japan or something like that. I think he was like wrestling with him or doing something for a while. So around 99 or 2000, we were all doing the what do you call that? The MMA thing. And I was an MMA fighter. I was 18 of those MMA fighters. You know, I don't even want to call it amateur because there was no amateur or pro. It just was, right? I wasn't in the UFC, but the UFC was so topsy-turvy and they weren't paying shit. And they wanted people to, like, back then, like, you know, oh yeah, we'll fly you out, but you're responsible for everything, you know. So it was real kind of iffy back then, right? So I did all these different tournaments downtown, fought on the beach down in South Padre, Corpus Christi, all these different places. So I met all these different fighters. T-Mac's been one of those guys who off and on fought and did all kinds of stuff. He's a ring man for one of Anthony's old coaches. So he's been around. Like, he's a tough dude, right? He's had a knee replacement surgery. But amazingly, he could still do some stuff for a 52-year-old man. He's pretty tough. But his girlfriend, she's like a lot younger than him. She's like 35, right? And in the best shape of her life. And she put an epic ass whooping on this dude. Like, I wish I could show you the camera footage because that shit was funny, bro. Like, I mean, he put up his hands like he was going to do something, and she kicked his leg like immediately. You can see him do this because he didn't know how to check it.
Chopped him.
Yeah, and you can see when he was punching the bag, he didn't know what he was doing. Like, you can see when somebody hits a bag, like they know what they're doing. Do we have the footage of me hitting the speed bag? I can show you how to hit a speed bag.
I don't think I have
See if
it.
we can find it. Here. I have a video of me hitting bags and stuff like that. I'll show you how to hit a bag. This dude was over there playing around. And she gave him every opportunity to back out of this. So the bully got his ass beat. But what was so delicious about it was he got his ass beat by a girl. And the girl was not even his size. Like, this dude was about 6'2", probably weighed about 260. He was a big guy. She probably weighs 150, 160. She's not a little person, but she's not huge either. She's like 5'7", maybe 160. She's real muscular. But she beat his ass. It was just like a clinic, like on how to whoop a dude's ass really quick. And then when he was staggering, he tried to wrestle with her. And what he doesn't realize is her best friend is like a black belt in jiu-jitsu who has a school right here in Austin. And she choked him out so fast. It was like, okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you get your ass beat, then you get put to sleep on top of it. So he ended up unconscious on the ground. And so the manager gets in touch with my patrol person over there and says, hey, what do you know about this? And then he says, maybe Wolf will know. So Terica like messaged me. I don't want to show it because it could be legal, you know, stuff. But here's what it looks like when you know how to do this. Okay. Here's me hitting a speed bag. How do you do it here? There it goes. See, that's how you hit a speed bag. That's kind of a glare there. Let me try it again. So a lot of people will do stupid things and say that they can fight and they know how to and you'll see them hit a bag and they're like, and you can watch them and you could tell, you can see this is not how to fight. And they'll do this shadow boxing thing. And all it really does is show you that they don't know how to fight. That's all it does. It shows you that if you got into a fight with them, they would be destroyed. But that's what he was doing. He was hitting this bag and kicking and doing all this stuff. And like I said, he's a bully. He's had his way over there with the residents, and people are tired of his crap. But I just thought it was funny. So last night, and then his excuse was he was drunk from the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was mad because his bet lost. I'm like, I don't know why you would bet on the Patriots, but
We're just gonna say that.
he did. And then today he gets the holy hell beat. Or last night he got the holy hell beat out of him. And you can see like one resident in there that's like kind of standing around, kind of laughing the whole time. He's just kind of like standing there with his hand, like just nervously on the treadmill. He just gets off and watches it, and he's like videoing it. So who knows? It may go viral. I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was refreshing. And that was one of our patrols. And it's in a pretty nice area of a suburb of Austin. But yeah, I've only been out there a couple times. And when I got told that today, I just found that recently. I thought, yeah, how awesome. That's what you get.
Yeah, exactly.
You will be humbled, right?
And real quick, too, 2 chicks will beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, and not, I'm not one of those people that just thinks that most girls can go around beating up dudes, because most guys that believe that are like betas that watch TV, they watch movies, and Tomb Raider will beat up everybody, or Charlie's Angels. That's not the reality. But when you pick a fight with a woman that's trained, and she was being nice, like according to the witness that was there, she was like, oh, okay. She was being very polite, because she's not, I know her. She's not that kind of person. She's very polite and very humble, and she'll kick you like a mule. She's one of those people. She don't have to go around acting like a badass. And this guy's a big dude. She doesn't know this guy, and she's trying to be like, oh, okay, because even though she can fight, she doesn't know what his skill level is. But I'm pretty sure she was looking at that guy hit the speed bag or the heavy bag and going like, okay. So when he squared up with her, it was real quick, like boom, right to the leg. And there was no check, because he doesn't know how to, in kickboxing, you check, you use, your shin. So you check people. Now, what people don't realize is if you don't do the check correctly, you could end up like the Spider, Anderson Silva. And then oddly enough, Weidman, the guy that ended up checking him and breaking his leg, he ended up, didn't he? He broke his leg too, right?
Same thing happened.
Same thing happened to him in a leg check. Now, I've done a leg check before and thought, oh, I think I just hurt myself. But the person that kicked me was a lot more hurt. So thank goodness. But if you don't do it correctly, you don't know what you're doing. This dude did no leg check. He just got slammed in the side of his leg. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you get hit in a certain spot of your femur, you'll go pee-pee. I'm not kidding. People don't, that's something people in the gym, they don't talk about. Another thing that happens is if somebody grazes your liver hard enough, you will lay on the ground like a bitch. I don't care who you are. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't stay standing.
I got a really good liver punch, and I have a good kidney punch.
Isn't that Bass Rutin's thing, the liver shot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bass Rutin, he talked like this. He go, when I hit him in the liver, then he go out of the commission. He's like, but I have a good liver shot, and I have a pretty good kidney shot too. But that's only in a street fight. Typically, if I'm fighting, I'll get around somebody, because I can get behind somebody real fast. I get behind them and I hit them in that kidney spot. I've seen dudes piss them like blood right there. They'll just pee blood right there. I mean, it's a brutal thing. Yeah, and you can kick somebody in that liver, you bust a damn liver loose. I ain't even joking, dude. You have to go to the hospital for that shit. That shit. Luckily for the people, that's one of the things that the Anunnaki didn't do, was take away our ability to regenerate our liver. It's one of the organs that will regenerate. I believe that our DNA has been messed with so bad that at one time we probably could regenerate even limbs, like a lizard. But
Yeah,
I
why
don't think
not?
we can now. Not now.
I'd buy that.
Yeah. What's going on, Drake? What's up?
To have a lot of regenerate.
So
I would love to have a lot of things in my body's regenerate. Hearing loss, sight loss.
be incredible, wouldn't it?
Maybe someday we'll figure it out.
Well, maybe if the elites would quit drinking our blood and eating us, then maybe we could get these things done. But they don't. They just seem to be determined, Sean, how's it going with you, man?
Oh, it's going pretty good, Josh. Good to hear from you guys again. You have been enjoying your episodes of late. Like, just great work you've been kicking out, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and I'm very humble, about it. I am great. I'm doing awesome. I'm a fucking badass at what I do. I'm incredible. Yeah. And I'm very, very humble. Everybody knows that. I am the most humblest of the humbles. Everybody knows. I've said this before.
The number one humble.
The number one most humble.
Yeah.
You got to do it in Trump's voice. I'm very humble. I'm a very humble man. I rule this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm the boss. When there's a boss, then there's another boss. You're the main boss. I'm the biggest boss there is.
You do a good job of his voice.
I lay down on this plane of existence like you wouldn't believe.
I'm the king of the humble.
I'm the king of all the humblest bosses of the most baddest bosses ever. I answer only to God. Everyone else, you're in trouble. I'm telling you. I'm going to get you. We have
Don
warships
Corleone.
everywhere. Yeah, the Don Corleone of the paranormal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Abe Cius? My man, Abe Cius. Abe Cius, Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters, man. If you want a lesson on how to be, that guy's there. He really does spit some truth, dude. But people judge him because they're like, oh, he gets cusses and says foul things, whatever. If you were attacked incessantly for half a decade, you probably would be too. Because that's what happened. And that's what's happened to me. But now we're getting back to business. I'm going to let the lawyers deal with this madness that we have going on. But I'm waiting for this real estate thing to go through, and then I'll be ready to go. We have a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. If you haven't joined the Patreon, tomorrow night is the Patreon. And what are we talking about tomorrow night, Anthony?
Bigfoot in New Mexico.
In New Mexico. And Bigfoot and the nature of reality. Bigfoot in New Mexico. What are they doing over there in New Mexico with Bigfoot? Huh? We got to figure it out. Inquiring minds want to know. And even if they don't, we're going to tell them. So tomorrow night, the Patreon. And then Wednesday, we're retelling. And we will get into what happened to the Jimenez family, specifically in San Antonio. And then a few other things, too. That little area down there, it's not little, but that area of San Antonio needs to be explored. Needs to be talked about because there is a ton of stuff going on down there. We had a guy come on the show, Anthony Ceballos, Wraith Hunters, talk about walking through a portal down there, and his life was never the same. He really believes he's not in the right timeline.
That's crazy.
He was on our show. And so, and I met, when we were down in San Antonio for the Paracon, I met a woman named Louise who claims that when she walked through a portal in that same area, when she was trying to rescue a dog behind not a dog, I'm sorry, trying to rescue a cat, a stray cat. And she was trying to let her pick it up or whatever. And she feels like she went through a portal instantaneously. She claims that the cat went from a white tabby looking, whitish gray tabby to orange and striped. Same cat though. She believes it's the same cat, but it's like two different timelines. And then after that, her whole world was different. Everything was different. Even the clothes in her closet, everything. So I don't know if these people, I don't think that these people are taking drugs and just all of a sudden, well, my life is just different now. All of us, no, because I can tell you what happened to us recently, and I noticed things. The rims on my Durango changed color.
Or the guy who found books like in unknown languages in his study.
Oh yeah,
that was strange.
Oh yeah, yeah. It reminds me of the Voynich manuscript. I don't know what people think about that, but I've wondered about that. Maybe a book written from a bygone era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like a previous civilization. It's like
that's how the world
holdover knowledge.
What's interesting about the Voynich too is if you were to look at fruits and vegetables today, as opposed to like even a couple, well, I'd say a couple, but a few hundred years ago, they look completely different.
Yeah.
Like carrots.
Yeah, like corn wasn't.
Carrots were purple.
Yeah.
And wasn't corn wasn't yellow?
No, it was multicolored. Yeah. They just made corn, all yellow. It's really weird when you stop and you look at all of this genetic modification. Like, who's to say this didn't happen before? I mean, obviously there was some sort of genetic modifying and tampering that was going on, and that's what we got now. And they're trying to make everything like, weird. Let's just call it what it. Bill Gates, okay? He's just a psychopath. I'm sorry, but it's what he is. And it's not just him. There's a whole foundation. There's Soros. I mean,
yeah.
Hey, Mama Medicine Claw, how you doing? We need to do the giveaways. We need to bring them up here and get them going for the dream catchers.
Yeah.
We keep forgetting them. They're sitting there at the house. So one of the things that I noticed too, like about the nature of reality, is like, okay, you can understand and learn the nature of reality, but they're changing it to where it's hard to get a grasp or a handle on it. But there are certain things that are absolutes, right? I was asked, well, okay, so I read this the other day. Let me ask you guys in the panel what you think of this. And I know Richard will probably be really interested in this, but Drake, you and Under Fire too. I mean, tell me what you think of this. So supposedly the Rothschilds were taking radium baths.
Hmm.
Do you believe that? I mean, can that even be a thing? Could that possibly be real?
It would depend what their DNA is. Like, if they are really
Mhm.
hybridized and pretty serious shit, then maybe that's good for them and poisonous for us.
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy who claimed that he worked at the nuclear power plant and was swimming in the cooling pools?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I used to work at a chemical plant years ago, and
Yeah.
they had this deionized water. And if you were to drink like a little thimble, it could kill you, dude, because it would just flush everything out of your body and you would just die. It's hard to fathom something so poisonous. But I used to work with all kinds of different chemicals, and my job was to clean the semiconductors. And I didn't work there very long because I didn't want cancer. You know, I just wanted to
Someone
try
on the
something
chat
else.
mentioned radium was sort of an all cure, which was correct. Sometime in our history, people did try to use that as that miracle cure drug too, as well. So,
Well, there it is. So maybe that was maybe this is what somebody had told me. Okay. And me and my wife had this long talk about it. And she says, "Do you believe that this could be true?" She brought it to my attention about the radium baths. And she said that she had heard that what if the elites it was actually something that was good for you. So they told us that it was bad for you so that we wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't
Right.
doubt that.
And then the fluoride in the water was told, hey, this is good for you, but no, it's actually very unhealthy for you. So they tell you these things, so the opposite.
Do you know
Right.
where hydrofluorosilicic acid comes from?
Yeah. Go
These-
ahead.
These scrubbers at aluminum plants, the smokestack scrubbers that filter out the aluminum, that the byproduct from the aluminum, they have a smokestack, and then they have the big filters in them, and all they do is just empty out those filters and put it in your water, put it
I've
in
heard
your
about those
toothpaste, and put
filters
it
at
in
the
your
power plants, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what they scrub out of their byproducts too, but that's a while ago. I don't know if they're still doing that same technique or improved.
And where do you think they get the stuff that they do the clouds with? Same
Cloud
place.
seeding.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
Well, barium is Ba on the periodical table, and aluminum is Al, and that's ball. So you're being sprayed with ball every single day.
Yeah. And okay. So fluoride, this is what's weird about fluoride is that it's naturally occurring in a lot of different things. It occurs naturally. The problem is because it's derived from the element fluorine, right? Which is actually naturally occurring in a lot of things. It's in all seafood because it's in the water. It's already in water. It's already in your rivers, and it's in groundwater. I mean, so why would you need to take copious amounts of it and dump it into the water if we already have it?
I know they took it out of the city just south of us, Calgary. They took it out for, I think, for a year or two. And then when the globalists planted Mayors took over, she's gone now, thank God. But the first thing they did was just slam the water with fluoride again. The very first thing they did was put that fluoride back into the water. Even though they were against it.
They don't have it here in Wasaga Beach, apparently, but there's a coalition that's on it, and it's led by several doctors who say that we need to absolutely get the fluoride back in the water.
Mm-hmm.
For what? So that we can't remember our names?
Precisely. Yeah, precisely. It's in everything. It's in lipstick. It's in makeup. It's in
a lot of things.
Yeah, it's in a lot of things.
Actually, another that's interesting too. Formaldehyde. It's that chemical in curtains, your furniture, and that's
shirts. It's in the shirts you buy.
Yeah.
That stuff's
When I
more red.
remember dissecting a fetal pig in biology class, we had lots of formaldehyde.
Yeah.
Yep.
That and no thought about it.
With
So
no
what-
masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They didn't give a crap. They just told you to do it, dude. Yeah.
it's chemically,
It'll
it
clean.
gets into
Yeah.
your
What do you
cells.
think I dip my cigarettes in?
Wow. And he admits it too. He's just like, yeah, yeah.
But it
Got
gets
the good stuff.
it's designed to get into the cells of your body to help stop decomposition. That's why it was the first used thing for decomposition, to try to fight against it during the American Civil War. And it keeps your cells in your body preserved, but then it just increases the chance of cancer through the roof. Like, I won't get into the story, but the one time we had someone from a third world come in, and the entire casket was just soaked with formaldehyde. It was horrendous. Like, it was generally not safe to be in the building. So it's really bad. It's in everything. It's not a good idea.
Like it gives the dead guy cancer, or
No, it gives living people cancer because it gets
I
your
know.
living cells.
I
Oh,
know,
yeah, the joke. I get it.
I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
So
you shouldn't.
paranormal ozone counters. Paranormal
Okay.
Oz account. Okay, right.
Sodium fluoride, the
Yeah.
other one, which
Yeah,
I thought
there's
is
two types.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sodium
Yeah.
chloride. Yeah, paranormal Oz. So here's the thing: thallium used to be used in. Now let me see if I can get this correct. The on the elemental table, gold, right? You have gold, which is 79. It's the number 79, and that goes by the number of electrons, whatever. We're going to get into that. But then 80 is mercury, and then 81 is thallium, right? I think 81 is thallium, and then 82 is dang it, I had it memorized. I used to have the whole table memorized. But thallium is a rat poison. And then it keeps going up, like it just gets weirder and weirder. Like 80, isn't 82 platinum? Is 82 platinum? Look it up.
82.
I can bring it on the screen.
Put it on the screen. But I can tell you this, numbers 89 through 103. Very interesting, 89 through 103. And that is actinium. Just trying to do it from memory. I'm trying to remember what it is.
Yeah.
Actinium, thorium, protactinium, uranium. Okay, so uranium is 92, and then neptunium is 93. Uranium is 94, and then there's another one and another one. I don't know. I know that there's one called Einsteinium, which is totally stupid. And then the last one is 103, which is debated, and that's Lawrencinium. And that's named after the scientist, that whatever. And then there's Nobelium, which is before that. And so, anyways, there's all these different ones. The reason this is important, I'll tell you why, is because, and then there's one called Americium and Californicum. I'm not even joking. These are the
Americium,
real,
isn't that like used in smoke
Yeah.
detectors or stuff?
yeah, dude. Okay, so let's go back one at a time, right?
Americium, that's a
Yeah.
really high number.
Yeah, so uranium is number 2, but get this: what we were talking about was radium, right? When uranium decays, this is the truth. This is the real truth. When uranium decays, and there's 2 different kinds of uranium. One of them has a half-life of like 90 years or something like that, and then the other one,
235 and 230, the one with the extra neutron that you're telling me about.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
and then there's another one that has that has a shelf life of like it's ridiculous. Like I think it's like 89,000 years or some ridiculous crap.
I thought that was like 8.3 billion or something like
No,
that.
no, that's not true. No. Plutonium is now. Here's the thing: plutonium
One
becomes
of them is really large.
Yeah, one of them is really large, but it's not.
They
It's
use it
nowhere in
for
the
the
billions
dating,
or whatever.
The dating, if I remember.
Well, and they use the uranium with the 90-year half-life. They use it in space shuttles and things like that. Like, and it people use it. I mean, it's around people. They use it to like cool or whatever, or to warm or whatever it is. So when you take this, the decay of uranium, and do you have the table up?
Yeah. He's got the table up. I see uranium at 230.92. I see with the atomic.
Where it is, right there.
Mass of 238.
And then 82 is lead. That's what it was. 82. Okay, and I always thought it was weird, right? So 81 is thallium. 80 HG is mercury. AU obviously 79, which is gold. Weird that 79 equals 16, which breaks down to 7, right? HG, you might know it as mercury or quicksilver, right? A lot of people know it's quicksilver.
Melts at room temperature.
Yeah, and it can honestly be very bad for you. But the ancient people thought this is wonderful, you know. They loved it, right? So then you get into 81. 81 is thallium, and we talked about, and then 82, which when we were kids, I always remembered it as plum bob, PB, right? Or peanut butter. Yeah, pluvium. So it's lead, right?
Yep.
But I always wondered, here's the thing I want to know. This is the ancient civilization part of me right here, right? How did they know that gold, like why would they try to take lead, which is PB right here, right? Skip these two and try to make this into gold. Why was alchemy based around making PB into AU?
Because PB was so heavy and dense, I think. And I would think
nobody has any idea why that is, because I don't either. I always wondered that. I always thought it was odd that they would try to that when these two are and so you're basically skipping over this one here. They're skipping mercury and they're skipping thallium. Now the Japanese have actually figured out a way to turn mercury into gold, but the energy used is so hard. It's so much energy. It's so hard to do that it's not worth the squeeze. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? But did they know something? Because this periodic table was not around back in the ancient medieval times when they were trying to figure out how to turn lead into gold. Now, they were close because thallium and mercury are right there next to each other. You know, mercury is gold's neighbor. Thallium is lead's neighbor. Did they know something that we didn't? I mean,
I'm
obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Could it be that it was just such an abundant mineral at the time? They had lots of it lying around and lots of it hanging around. So, hey, why not? Let's try and turn this into gold and we'll be rich as
Croesus.
Yeah.
They were probably told by other powers. Or maybe,
Well, that's what I'm wondering too. Is it just they're possessed by the elemental spirits? So they're like, hey, who knows? I got no theory on that.
Yeah. So how was it that they knew this?
were they carried on from the past before last civilization got destroyed?
Mm-hmm. That is the question. I've always wondered that's a weird thing. And then when you look at the actinides, these are called actinides, the numbers 89 through 103. And you wonder, like what is it about these particular elements that make them the radioactive elements? You know, like what is it about them? Why did we? And better question is how. We know Oppenheimer figured out a way to weaponize these, but what? Like, how did they really figure it out? Because when you stop and do the math, even Einstein said that the math didn't math, right? So how in the hell did they figure out, like, oh, okay, this right here can create a radioactive energy unless there was something that told them this, an echo of the past. I mean, and there's so many people that will argue that they have the answer and they think that this is, but I've never heard one real good explanation of how they came to this. I mean, other than like, and we were talking about this the other day on the show, like how there's so many gaps. I think we were recording actually, I think with Sage or somebody.
Yeah,
we were recording and we were talking about how there are so many gaps in our reality that it's kind of like fill in the blanks.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we live in a society with severe amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
Severe amnesia.
Yeah.
Possibly what part of all this evil that's going on in the world is they're trying to stop us from figuring things out and remembering stuff. So they go and destroy everything again.
It's amazing how much truth's come to light the last few years, though.
Yeah.
Yep,
It
and you
has.
see the Epstein thing going on, and everybody's just so shocked by that. But I guarantee you, most of the people from Paranormal Roundtable aren't shocked.
No.
Ain't nobody over here shocked.
Oh,
I'm
exactly.
just like, it's another day at the office for me because I've been telling y'all this, and people don't want to believe it.
Like,
There's
was
a file-
expected.
There's a file of they blanked out his name, but he's talking to Epstein, and he's talking about, have you guys talked about how to kill off all the poor people? And he's like, well, I'll send you over to Bill Gates because he's got some ideas on how to do it. And who's investing in all the third world countries' medical system right now is Bill Gates. So
Yep.
we don't want to be him when he dies. That's all I got to say.
No.
Oh, yeah.
So if radium, so the question is, if radium is made from the decay of and the basic breakdown of uranium, it's a byproduct of uranium, which is extremely radioactive and toxic, right? Then how is it that the Rothschilds were bathing in radium? Because this is like a story that we've heard before, that they're doing these weird things. Like, if there's truth to this, then what is it about their genetic makeup that's so different from ours that it will actually heal them?
Well, it just kind of gave me a bit of a eureka moment. So we deal about the UFOs and people encountering some of these entities, and you get cancer issues after, or sickness from after they expose a bunch of radiation. And these things are living either spiritually in that state, or they're coming out of UFOs that are surrounded by that. If those families are closer linked to them, then that might be something that's beneficial to them, but negative to us more physical-based beings, possibly.
Well,
Now-
if you look at lizards, they're able to handle like huge amounts of heavy metals and stuff like that. And I've heard it postulated. I believe Steve Quayle was the guy that said this, is that the reason that they're doing the terraforming and the certain spraying. Now, remember, I'm crazy, so don't listen to a word I say.
Hey, hold on. Let's do a disclaimer. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
And I'm an idiot, and I'm crazy, so you don't listen to a word I say.
And he's also
But-
Canadian, but I repeat myself.
Exactly. And I was drinking Tim Hortons, so
Oh, that's
anyway.
And his name is Tim Horton.
Yeah, not the hockey player. So the reason that they're spraying all of these certain elements is that it's to terraform the earth in order for the return of the fallen old ones, because they operate in a toxic environment. Their environment that they lived in back in the day was far more toxic, and that these chemicals are the chemicals that they need in order to either operate on our plane of existence, I guess.
Well, I've heard it's more to reduce the intensity of the sun, especially for the ones underneath the earth, because that's very cancer causing and causes issues. So they want to reduce that sun, so it's easier for them to be on the surface. And
Could be
also
as well.
more heat increase in temperature, just the coldness. There was, and I think I said this, I don't know if I said this on your show or not, because I talked to a lady at a natural food store about 3 years ago, and it was during the summer. We had like plus 40 temperature Celsius, which is really hot for Alberta, right? Like stupid hot. And she talked to me about, we talked a little bit about some strange paranormal stuff we knew, and she said she had this one customer coming, right? So it was like plus 35 degrees Celsius at this time. She's bundled up in full winter garb, right? She comes out this really high upper class black car, comes in fully covered, like she's freezing in plus 30, 35 temperature. Going south, she like hisses at people, right? So she's very rude and hostile to people around her. She goes to the desk, she try this stuff. Yeah, I'm just very quickly and very abrupt with the cashier, and then leaves. And no one ever sees her hands or her face really. She's bundled up like she's like in like minus 40 weather in the middle of like the heat wave, which is really freaking.
You
That's
see
weird.
people like that too. You see people downtown in the middle of summer with these big old starter jackets on.
Yep.
And you're like, what are you doing? Why
Yeah,
are you
I've
wearing a
seen that.
North Face in the middle of in the middle of summer?
Are you even human?
Yeah. And I wonder about that. My brother claims to have seen somebody on the bus one time whose eyes were completely slitted up and they were all bundled up, and it was July. But
I had a theory about the mask thing for the last 5 years. Is that did they not introduce a new type of entity amongst? Or did they try and slip something in amongst us? Something that didn't look quite right. So, if everybody's walking around like this, it would be far more easy for them to amalgamate in society.
So there's a show that we did, and it's going to come out on the members only, pretty sure. And it is, you got to join the members only, folks, because this is going to be an interesting drop, and it's coming out pretty soon. But we recorded it recently, and it was about a guy. His name is Chris, and that's all that I can say. But he supposedly did this. He worked on, not, I don't want to say he worked for the government, but what in a nutshell, he was on a military base. Okay. And if I said the name of it, a lot of people would go, oh, yeah. He claims to us that he actually was a part of a project, but very briefly. He didn't want to do it after the first time he was a part of it. And he came out of his body. And the target was a foreign country. That's all I'm going to say. I'll go in more in depth on the show. And Anthony knows we did this whole. But he claims to have seen this being that was one of the guardians that was just kind of there, kind of like in a meditative state. And then he sees this thing as a spirit and it comes after him. And it looked like to him, and this is what he said, it was like part tiger and part dragon or reptilian. But we immediately thought like draconian with tiger DNA because it had tiger stripes on it.
And it was weird because it had like this armor plated scales.
Well, I don't know about the armor plated scales were on the foo dogs.
Oh yeah,
that's what that was. But that's what he said, and I believe him in the way that because he doesn't try to make any bones about like I was a hero, I stood and I fought him like Mortal Kombat. No, he ran his ass out of there, and then he was like, that was it, I was done with it. But then he got stalked for a while by what I believe are people from both governments, like that
he didn't want anything to do with that afterwards.
Yeah, he was terrified. He's like, I'm not gonna lie, I ran like a bitch. He's like, when he came back, he was like, I'm not dealing with that. I don't know what that is. At that point in his life, he had no clue that stuff like that existed. Like he was like, what is that? Like I didn't know Kentaro was a real thing from Mortal Kombat was a real thing. That dragon people existed, But these other governments, I guarantee you, they're using a lot of weird things and they're doing these things. And people, people are just like, they're just kind of sleepwalking. They're just kind of like, oh, yeah. But the problem, though, and you can't blame them. I mean, I get mad. God bless them. I feel terrible for these people because they are walking around with their head up their rear end because we've been conditioned to this. It's like Groundhog Day for a lot of people. You wake up. For me, it's been that way at times. What breaks the monotony for me is that I get to argue with different property managers. I'm joking. I'm like, oh, a different property manager to argue with. What's up? I haven't faced you before. Fight. No, I don't fight like that. I don't fight with the property managers. We'll go back and forth, and eventually, we'll come to whatever.
Mortal Kombat songs playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. But I what breaks the monotony is getting to do the show and getting to talk to all the different people about all the different weird stuff. And sometimes some people's stories are so weird, I'll hold them back for a while and just see if somebody else comes out and says something similar because I don't know. I'm just like, oh, I've not heard this one before. And then inevitably somebody will say something and I'll be like, thank God that this person's probably telling the truth. And so, we'll drop it, but then sometimes we'll just jump in feet first and just throw it out there. And then 10, 12 other people are doing it on their shows.
Yeah. The vampires,
dude. Dude, we know what they are now.
Yeah.
And there were so many people so afraid to do it, to talk about it. Everything all right? Yeah. Work. Mondays are rough. So so many people were so afraid to talk about it. I mean, I had people, including our mutual friend, Sean, who warned me, James Bartley. And Bartley's brave. He's got balls. But he said, dude, I don't want anything to do with those vamps, man. And there are people who just are terrified of them and their power base because it runs so deep. But I say this. If you've already been given the information, you're already on the radar. right? So at least if something happens to you, people can carry on and go, okay, don't let it scare you, because what they got to do is kill all of us. We outnumber them like 8 million to 1.
Yeah.
So they have to kill us all, right? So they'll go through and they'll chop down the voices and the leaders and people like that, right? But what happens? 5 or 6 more pop up in their place. Every time they kill somebody, get rid of somebody, 7 more take their place. That's what happens, and it becomes a vacuum, and eventually they're going to realize, like Putin said, the vampire ball is over. They've been stuffing their bellies with human flesh, feasting on our blood, feasting on our money, our tax dollars, and our actual blood, and destroying our families, our psyche, our children, corrupting our souls, and degrading our bodies, the temples. That's what they're doing. And so eventually you have to sit there and go, thank you for that donation, Abnormal. And eventually you have to sit there and go, like, look, the fighting it's on this ground level. I had to back away and go, well, look, these are cannon fodder people they're using. They're just using them, to throw, to cause, discord or whatever. And the real fight is in a different arena.
Amen.
Oh, it is funny you say that. So I was talking to Tiki on Saturday on Discord. We've chatted a little bit. You're going to absolutely just be very interested in the stuff she has to say. But we're talking Discord. We're talking about pretty much how it's really these high-level fallen and rebellious Shaitan and other group entities that are really running this false reality.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting deep into that in the Black Goo. And all of a sudden, my side, my Discord, I've never had that happen before. My Discord all of a sudden pretty much shuts down and goes ballistic. And then I go to try to open up my phone to let it know I'm having an issue with my Discord. My phone Discord, the same thing's going on. I can't log on to either one, so I've immediately been praying against it. After about a few minutes, it calms down, it stops, and I get logged back in. But I've never had that happen before. My internet was fine, everything else was fine on my computer, but my Discord specifically just went haywire, both on my computer and my phone.
It's Palantir giving you a wink and a nod.
I like to give them a wink and a nod back.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give them something to wink.
And
But-
go ahead, Josh.
Well, you go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to mention to the creature that guy saw. James had an interesting video I watched the other year. He's talking to the guy, and he talks about the I forget the name of the statue. There's a statue. It's like a lion with like a snake on its head. Dick, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's holding down like a staff.
Where is it, bud?
It's a I'm trying to know what religion it is, but it's like a lion's humanoid body, lion's head, and there's like a snake that's lined around it and is on top of its head. No, I'll have to find it. But they were going through a bunch of findings and stuff about this, and one of the theories they had was there's this race called the Lionids, and they had a war with the reptilians and Draco because they thought they could fight them, and they got their asses handed to them. And once they got defeated, a whole bunch of them got taken and hybridized to be like the warriors, the minions for the Draco reptilians, which you, Josh, had that show in China where that person got abducted. Apparently, you kind of saw them down there. And they also took a bunch of the Anunnaki too when they had a war later on, did the same thing, hybridized them. So I thought I mentioned that because that's what that thing kind of reminded me of.
Yeah, the lion men of Moab and the lion-like men of Gad, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Gad is interesting. When we talk about Gad, the seer of Gad, that's the Cochin. They are Jews from India that believe in the seer of Gad. Gad was actually, you know who he was? He was the advisor to King David. He was one of his advisors, supposedly, right? And so a lot of these Jewish, mystics will actually follow Gad. But they come from the Cochin, which are a type of Indian people, but they're Jewish people in India. And I believe their bloodline intermingled with the Gujarati, and that's where we get gypsies. I think that's what that is. And then they traveled to and a lot of them settled in Romania and were becoming a pretty large population in Romania until World War II, and then a bunch of them were destroyed. But yeah, it gets really weird. You start to get down into this and the mysticism that goes along with it. And a lot of people don't realize like what, and when it comes to Judaism, they don't really understand. They do not grasp what is happening there. They don't really understand that there are Sadducees and Pharisees. Hey man, how's it going? They don't understand a Sadducee from a Pharisee, and that the Pharisaic Babylonian Talmudic teachings is what Judaism has become. It is of itself become parasitized by this group of people. And the Sadducees, the difference between the Sadducees and the Pharisees is pretty simple. The Sadducees believed everything was a physical thing. They didn't believe in resurrection, afterlife. They didn't believe in anything, like they didn't believe in angels, demons, and that everything was really just promised to them by this sort of, I guess you want to call it God, but they were themselves God. They were basically satanic. That's what they were, the Sadducees. And the Pharisees believed in all the old teachings of the Torah and blah, blah, blah. And they were sort of the religion of the people because suffering was so prominent in their life that the only thing you had to look forward to was dying and going to a better life when you die. So it was very popular to be a Pharisee, but the rich aristocratic people of the Sadducees, they didn't care. They would go along with the Greeks, the Romans, the Assyrians, basically whoever was in charge and conquered, and they didn't care about their own people suffering, and they were totally okay with whoever had the rules as long as the golden rule was in place. And that is, he who has the gold makes the rule.
Exactly.
That was their thing. So the Pharisees masqueraded, and they were hypocrites. But both groups united against Christ. That's the problem. And so now you have Israel, okay? The problem is, though, that that religion has been so subverted, and nobody wants to admit this, but the Christianity has too.
Yeah.
And Islam is the illegitimate child of both. So Islam is like when you have a messed up mommy, messed up daddy, well, you're going to be pretty messed up too. You know, how are you going to make it? Right?
The Pharisees and the Sadducees hated each other too, but they united together under the hatred of Christ.
They did. Yeah, they work them to the show, and they combined their efforts to destroy. And the Sadducees actually worked very closely with the Romans to get this done. And the leaders of the Pharisees says, yeah, we have to get rid of this guy. He's a troublemaker. I think it's ridiculous when Shapiro gets up there and goes, I think he was a person that fought against Rome. I think he knew him. This stupid little, I can't stand his little fast-talking, little beady-eyed shithead. No, Shapiro, no, he was not a person who led a rebellion against Rome and paid for it with his life. You little bitch. Excuse my language. But what happened was, I can't stand that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he opens his mouth, I actually literally physically vomited the other day because of him. I'm joking, okay? I did not. But I that's how I feel when he talk, when I look at him, he's like little robot face head guy.
Kabbalah wizard should make you puke, bro.
Kabbalic wizardry, right?
Yeah.
He's over there with his Kabbalic wizardry.
100%.
He is. He's a little turd, man. They've circumvented. He wanted to circumvent the right? That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, well done.
And so what ends up happening, you have this messianic figure that comes and says, hey, this isn't, but it wasn't the one that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But the weird thing is that you have Rabbi Kuri. Do people know who that is? Does anybody know who that is?
No, actually.
Okay. So, yeah, what Kuri did, it's very interesting. What he did was, this is the thing, he was super Jew guy. Like if they had a hero, a superhero with the cape and all that, it would be like, nah, nah, da, 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 you know, that's him. He's the guy. He was the one that was the personal rabbi to Ariel Sharon. He was friends with Golda Meir and Moshe Dayan going way back, and his teacher was Ben Gurion's rabbi. Like this guy was the guy. Menachem Begin, all of them were this was the guy. He would give you your blessing and be like, okay, you can become the leader. And he was the one that kind of anointed Bibi, Netanyahu.
I know who that is. I know that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the
Mhm.
Habodnik.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about. Do you know what he did?
I remember the footage of him saying, well, we got to bring the Messiah in, and there's a few hours left in the day. And Netanyahu looked at him like he was crazy. But no, I'm not sure.
So the interesting thing about this guy, he was a student of the Kabbalah, right? And one of the things that he did was he had a political involvement. People don't understand that. Like this guy, he was the guy. What is so interesting about this guy is that before he died, he issued a statement. And his name was Yitzhak Kaduri. Kaduri, that's his name. And what he did was he said basically that hold on. Can you get me an 18, I guess, whatever. So what he did was he wrote on a piece of paper. And he said, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And he said, when I die, open this paper. Now, I'm not sure when he died. I think he died in 2006, but you can look it up. He died like in 2006 or no, these aren't cool. Thank you. He died in 2006, I believe. But in 2007, they opened the envelope because he says, I'm going to write the name of the Messiah, right? Like I said, this is super Jew, right? This is against the Christians, against the Muslims. The Jews will rule the world and everybody is cattle, blah, 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 the whole thing. I mean, he was really a Talmudic Babylonian, like you said, Kabbalistic sorcerer. He was the guy. And he says that he was going to write the name of the Messiah on a piece of paper. And when that paper was opened up, it was Yeshua.
Really?
Yeah, really. This is the
That's
true story. Yeah.
And they
Look
flipped
it
out.
up. Somebody wants to look it up. His name is Yitzhak Kaduri.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like YITZ or something like that.
Yeah.
HAK. K. It's always a K. Okay. KADURI. Look it up. You can look him up, but it's crazy. Like so what he said was, this is the Messiah, and it was Yahushua, right? Yahushua. And so they're like, what is going on here? Why is this guy the Messiah? And this is what he said in that note to his followers. Very, very inconvenient truth. I can tell you that. That was pretty inconvenient. They were like, this is a hard one. The inconvenient truth, right? He says that the Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus, visited him. And that was what he had to do. He had to write it down because at that point, I think he was so deep in that you can't just go, today I had a visit from Jesus Christ and blah, blah, blah. So in order for that to happen, he would have been killed. Like they would have probably thrown him off of the temple.
They would have been able to open the note a lot sooner if that happened.
Yeah. So he writes this on the deal there. What does David Buckhold say? He always says interesting things. He says, Rabbi Yitzhak Kaduri, also known as Yitzhak Kaduri or Isaac Kaduri, is the figure they're referring to as high respected Orthodox Jewish, Kabbalistic, and Sephardic rabbi in Israel. Yes, that's the overlay, right? But this is what he did. And so now they're sitting there going like, okay, but there's no copy of this, right? But somebody made a photocopy of it. So it is still there, but quite the inconvenient truth there. But Judaism has a lot of layers to it, a lot of layers, like an onion. And you can't just put it all in one thing and go, this is what it is, because you have people like Joel, who's a Messianic Jew. And we recorded recently, we did 3 hours. And the second episode of that, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. The second episode isn't as cool and sexy as the other two with all the encounters and weird
It's
stuff.
not as flashy.
But the second one gives you the most information.
Very important foundational
Very
knowledge.
important foundational knowledge. There you go. Good one. And it is going to tell you a lot about who and what they are, where this comes from, and why it's so important, and why what role that these people have to play in the upcoming future of the world. because they are, and for all intents and purposes, people will say, oh, the Jewish power base, they control this, they control that, but it's in particular a certain sect of them. And it's actually the ones who don't really want Israel to be a country. And the reason is because it's cramping their style. They want to own everything monetarily, internationally, the Rothschilds. Believe it or not, the Rothschilds are not a fan of Israel. They're not.
Yeah, it's all means to an end.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. They're good for starting a war, but that's about it. And it might, if it happens too soon because of the zealotry, that's a problem. Just like there are certain people in the Christian community that the Baptists and the Catholics who are pretty volatile in the way that they are in their beliefs, they're just sitting there going like, dude, shut up, because we're biding our time for this and that, you know? And you have these people out there just going nuts, just like the Shiites. There's a lot of Muslims who are just like, please shut up because you're making things hard, right? And I'm telling you, that doesn't mean that they're wrong. It doesn't mean that these people are wrong. It just means that they're kind of making waves. But if you were to believe what I'm about to tell you, there is a vampiric power base at the root of all of these. In Saudi Arabia, I'm going to tell you, this is what I believe. Somebody asked me, do you really believe this? We're talking about this conference, right? Anthony, you know this. After hours, and I told a group of people that were sitting there, I said, Saudi Arabia is a stepping stone. They are really part of the Greater Israel Project willingly because they're one of the richest nations on earth because of the oil. If I gave you a statistic, a number, it would shock you. $12 trillion that we have given to Israel. Take a wild guess on how much money Germany has given to Israel. This is a weird thing. Like, this is crazy. Just take a wild.
666 billion.
No, that's nothing. Here it is right here. Here's the numbers.
How many zeros is that?
Is that 70 billion?
Quite a lot.
100 trillion.
Yeah.
$70
$70 billion in reparations that Germany has given. What this thing right here doesn't say is that there are every country that was allied with Germany for any short period of time at all has had to pay reparations to them. To the Rabbinical Association, I forgot how they worded it. It's the same people who charge a tax for the kosher salt, right?
Yeah.
Now, the United States, it says here $1,250 billion in foreign aid and unpaid back loans. This thing here says, in return, Israel gave us the biggest pedophile ring with Epstein and the largest mass murder of children.
Mazel tov.
That's at the end of that right there, right? But the funny thing about this is, it's not funny. That's not funny, haha, but funny that it's odd, is that every country had to give money. And as soon as perestroika took hold, bless you, and the Russians, with Gorbachev, they said, we're going to slowly demilitarize and decommunize. And they really did. And the guy was a man of his word. He really did. I give him kudos for that. He knew that there was no other way. They had been bankrupted. Everybody was bitching about Reagan spending. But you know what he did? He outspent the Russians and he bankrupted them.
Like an economic war of attrition.
People didn't realize at the time that Reagan, my dad hated him. My dad was, a Democrat, and my dad was the business manager of the Union for Electrical Brotherhood, IBEW. And so he was brought up to be a Democrat. Now he's flipped completely. He's like, these people are crazy. But he was an old school Democrat. And so I heard breakfast, lunch, and dinner what a bastard Reagan was and how he didn't care about the people. Years later, you find out that Reagan actually outspent the Russians and bankrupted their ass and led to perestroika in a nutshell. But he was given, this is what I've read, according to Soviet documents, released Soviet documents, redacted a lot of it, right? Because if you get it from the United States, don't get it from the United States, they will redact it. But the Soviets are just like, there it is, brother. Take your shot of vodka and hold your dick. There is right there. A lot of shit. George Bush, according to the KGB, this is what they said, their spies, that George Bush Sr. gave him cold blood when he got shot by the idiot that was in love with Jodie Foster. I forgot his name, and I don't care. He's just a turd. He shot him when he was in the hospital recovering. They gave him cold blood. This made him, like, for all intents and purposes, retarded his mind. Toward the end of his term, he was like, yeah, and doing all that. Yeah. That was because Daddy Bush needed him to shut up because he started talking about aliens. I'm not even joking. I was alive during that time. I don't know how many of you guys were alive. I was a kid in the 80s. And I remember him babbling about aliens and my dad sitting there with his hands on his hips going, look at this damn idiot son of a bitch. He's talking about effing UFOs. He's so stupid.
Him and Nancy said they got abducted, didn't they?
I don't remember that, but I remember them talking about seeing UFOs in formation.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. And then he started talking about how we needed to build, get this, a space force. Yes. And here's what else he said. He said that the next great war, he predicted, he says this, this was a public speech. The next great war may not be here on Earth, but it may be from a very powerful force outside of our own planet. Unbelievable that he's saying these things. Then he becomes borderline babbling, dementia, or he's got Alzheimer's and everybody's making fun of him, on Saturday Night Live. Because after he got shot, he came back, he was never the same. Now, this is what the Soviets claimed, that this is what happened, right? Now you have Putin saying, he's like, I'm not at war with the Western people. I'm at war with their governments that are run by vampiric Satanist pedophiles. This is what he said. And he went on to say, he said this, he says, now he's declared war on the Rothschild banking apparatus.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're sitting here going like, what in the hell is going on? But if you go back on the timeline, you go back to Nixon, right? And then you see him talking, and this is a matter of fact. Nixon said this. There are recordings of Nixon going, why in the hell are there so many, excuse me, but he says this. He says, why in the hell are there so many damn Jews and everything?
Oh, yeah, that recording of him talking to Billy Graham. They were talking about it, yeah.
But Billy Graham, supposedly a pro-Zionist Baptist, because he's got the 501c. But behind closed doors, he's like, we got to do something because they've got their hooks into, and he was talking very, very specific, Talmudic Hasidics have seized control of the banking apparatus by way of the Rothschilds. The Rockefellers have seized control of pharmaceutical, as big pharma, and then they also have control of the education system. So what are we supposed to do, right? This is something that has been a big problem. You can ally yourself with the Muslims, but they are about as stable as Tannerite that's just been thrown around. So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, like Tannerite at a shooting range.
What do? Do you shave your head and go not march up and down the street screaming white power? Do we join Farrakhan? Why they did everything? Who are we supposed to go and be with? What if we all just formed an ideology that specifically targeted certain aspects of our society that are not correct? And then you go, that would be a great idea. You know what we should do? We should go after the communists, the Freemasons, and the Zionists. And then everybody's like, that would be awesome. You know what? We all wear the same uniform and we march against the evil that has infected our world. Then you go back and you're like, wait a minute. Somebody did this. This
sounds familiar.
There was an Austrian painter that did that. Oh, shit.
Wait, that was real? I saw that movie. I thought it was bullshit.
Then you start to go, holy shit, that's what Germany did during World War II. Why did we kill all these people again? Why? And then, yeah, that's right. And then Patton said, maybe we made a mistake. Then he was going to run for office, and then he died, right? Boom, he died. Then Nixon is like, I need to know who killed Kennedy because I'm scared I'm going to die. Because he was talking about things they didn't like. Like, why do we need this Federal Reserve piggy bank that is not part of our actual whatever? Then Nixon starts talking about we need to do something about these people. Blah blah blah. Where is the gold in Fort Knox?
You ever hear his phone call about Bohemian Gold?
Oh
Grove?
my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Most faggy shit I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life.
Can you believe? Well, I've never gone back there. Can you believe what the fuck they were doing?
Yeah. So then you have all of this, and then when you listen to Hitler's speeches in English,
I know.
get it that I understand several languages. I can understand them in German. The problem was that less than around 7% of the country could speak German. So who is this 7%? If History Channel wants to get on there and put the translations underneath Hitler and say, we're all blonde hair, blue eyed, white power, blah, 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 nobody's going to know what the hell he's saying. They're going to look at that and go, oh, yeah, he's an evil guy. He's bad. He wanted to kill everybody. But then the truth starts coming out. And I'm not saying you should go full Kanye and be like, you know, nigga, hi, Hitler, you know, whatever the fuck it is he says. I don't even care at this point. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. But that's what he said, you know, and it was a bunch of black dudes, Heil Hitler, you know. I've heard young people jamming that song too. Like we were literally, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were in our neighborhood and there were these 3 black dudes pull up next to us and they were jamming that shit. Right? Then you're starting to think, what if this is an ideology that is making a comeback and everybody's panicking and freaking out? Because what if it wasn't the way that we were taught that it was?
Well, if
It's
you look
spooky.
at, yeah. I mean, Mustache Man's grandma, though, she had some interesting ties to the tribe.
Mm-hmm. She was Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
Funny that the end of that word is Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
They take Adolf Eichmann, they put him on trial. And if you ever get the transcripts, take a look at them. Now, I'm sure they've probably doctored them and messed with them. And not a lot of people speak Hebrew. But he did. Why was Adolf Eichmann able to? He says, I'm a Zionist. I worked for you. I did what you wanted. You wanted us to kill certain people. You wanted a Holocaust. You got it. Now I'm on trial and I'm going to die for it. And then he says, I'm going to die a Zionist. That's crazy. That sounds like the ramblings of a madman. This man is insane. How could you, you know, and they made a big show of it, and then they stopped. They're like, okay, you know, we're not going to show the public the rest of it because this dude's saying things that we don't want people to hear.
Yeah,
And they had him behind a little
not to
box,
mention about 60 million dead Christians.
which was perpetrated by the NKVD, right?
Yeah.
In Russia alone, but I mean, like in the entire war, between all the bombing and all the civilians and all the combat deaths.
So that came out to
probably-
125 million.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
The Holodomor itself was like 40 million people, right? That was Ukraine. They ethnically cleansed Christians, the kulaks, out of that area, which is now completely Hasidic Jews. They're walking around acting like they're completely unaffected by the war that Russia is waging on Ukraine. And they probably are unaffected until they're not. Why do you think we're dumping billions and billions of dollars to protect Ukraine, which is essentially lost?
Mm-hmm.
And Putin is just being nice at this point and not using small tactical nukes, which he could employ if he wanted to.
You ever see who's roaming the streets of Kiev these days?
That's what I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
Hasidics. If you were to listen to what he said most recently, that he's getting sick of the bullshit with France and UK, and he takes a little swipe at them too, talking about how their countries aren't even their own anymore, and they're not. They're caliphate. So he's talking about nuking them, and he's got the backing of China and multiple other countries from the Middle East that are willing to join in a crusade to destroy the banking apparatus known as the Rothschild banking system.
I even heard China's made a threat very recently that if they attack Iran, China is going to wipe out Israel.
And Russia will be a part of that too. So will Iran. So will Syria. So will Lebanon. So will every country in the Middle East. The Levant will be lit on fire. And if you think Turkey's going to hold the line, they're not. Because they don't like Israel either. Because their stipulation is that they will fight on our side against a Russian incursion of their land but not if it means that they are on the same side as Israel. See, read the fine print. I have. And when you start to look at these different fallouts, the way it's going to go, domino effect, whatever, we're in trouble. So their sacred red heifer, supposedly born in 1999, because that's 666, right? And so we're fighting for the star of Remphan, 666, once again. Jesus says it's the number of a man, it's Antichrist, and that number is 666. The dimensions of their flag are 666. They are Antichrist. They cannot stand Jesus. They spit on Christians and spit in front of the Christian church. These are the Hasidics that do this. These are the main root cause. The one shining example of Judaism there is the Messianics. And they are the hated of all the hated. They're hated by everybody. But they're the ones that are doing what's correct. And they're dying for trying to convert.
What do you think the role is of Ukraine in all of this, considering they're like the world's money laundering capital?
Capital of Khazaria.
Mhm.
The Khazaric Jews are not real Jews. That was 849 King Bulan. He turned, and my co-host Dick Richards, which I wish you would change your nickname. Stop. Just call yourself Tim Horton. Tim Horton over here, right?
All right.
That's a great nickname. What are you talking about?
Reverend Tim Horton Heat.
Rick's like, I love that nickname. That's a great nickname. Like, it's almost.
Stan Makina's Donuts.
I like it as much as your 49er hat, which I made a bunch of money on them losing, by the way. So hats off to the 49ers. I can say this. I have made money. I have made lots of money betting for and against the Niners. I have actually done very well with them. They've covered the spread more. I don't like them. But I respect them. But they got their ass whooped bad this year. But it happens. But I'm just
Speaking of money laundering organizations, right? You know, so
maybe Carmen Policy and what's his name? What was the guy that was the owner? What was the owner? The Carmen Policy was his Eddie DiBartello. Those two Guidos. Yeah. Those Guidos, well, they were just like, who do we got to kill over here to make the Cowboys go away? Early 90s, coming down the elevator at Texas Stadium, they were just like, we got to do something about these hillbillies.
Well, just put Jerry Jones at quarterback. I don't know if they can do even worse than that.
ET's got to go. ET needs to phone home, brother. So here's what I'm going to say. The Khazaric mafia that controls and runs the money there in Ukraine, if you look at who is controlling and running it, now Jesus tells us in Revelations 2:9 and 3:9, you suffer unto those who claim they are Jews and they are not. Because technically, we are Jews. And what I mean by that is you become the children of Israel, you enter into the agreement,
the new covenant,
and you become the Israelites. We do.
You're grafted in.
You're grafted into the tree by accepting Jesus, and that is the way that it is. And so when they say the Jews are your brethren, I say yes, but not the Babylonian, Talmudic, whatever these people, the astrologists, crazy Kabbalists. These are not my brothers. My fellow brothers and sisters in Christ and the Messianic Jews, yeah, those are my brothers and sisters. Not the synagogue of Satan.
Themselves pure Jews too, right?
Yeah. So when I look at this, I don't believe in just going out and rounding up everybody that's a bad guy that you don't agree with. They're a communist, they're a Mason, they're a Zionist. Let's take them all and put them in a camp. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. But at some point, it needs to be addressed and it needs to come to a head. Thank you for that donation. Mrs. Chef Yoda, thank you. That's a person that gets it. Thank you for the history lesson, see? The rest of you need to follow suit, all right? All right? Give me money. I became a Jew, okay? Give me money. I'm joking.
Hey.
Amazing.
Well, if I'm assembling an army right now.
That's awesome, dude.
How about that, eh?
I have
like
a small
Raphael. He's got
collection
the
of toys back in the day.
Christmas, actually, in Massachusetts. When you had that hat on, I was like,
I got the hat right here.
Yeah.
There we go.
And it matches my Zartan shirt here. But I just don't want people to get it twisted. I'm not talking about, two of my best friends in the world are Jewish. One of them lives up in Colorado, and I'll be honest, they have spoken out about this, and they are not necessarily comfortable. You know what I mean? They live in fear because they've spoken out. Now, one of them is Messianic, the other's not. But the point is that there are good people and bad people in every group. But in that particular group, they are controlled by a group that comes from Khazaria, which is Ukraine, part of Russia, but mostly Ukraine. And that particular region, and guess who destroyed their empire? The Cossacks. The Cossacks are my dad's people. Kind of odd. My grandfather told me that one time. He was like, "Yeah, you got Cossack, you know, blah blah blah." And he was telling me about it, and I'm like, "Really?" And then I didn't know what the hell that was, and I didn't care. But when they came over here, their names were weird. You know, you had Jezenak and Jezanansky and all these weird names, and they're like, "Who the hell is this? You're
They
Smith."
anglicize them?
Yeah, they English. They're just like, you're Smith. But you can look at my big, weird, square head and see that I have this Viking
They
head.
did that with our
like-
family. I mean, when my grandfather's family came over through New York, they anglicized our name from Russian to English.
Mm-hmm. Happens a lot.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, and we traced our ancestry back to a Pete Turner whose original last name was some unpronounceable shit, in the Cyrillic language. Yeah, but he worked for a guy named Pete Turner who gave him his name, basically. And so that ended up that was like 4 or 5 generations ago, or no, that was 6 generations ago. And my mom's family, Hispanic and Native, the Hispanic has been in Texas for 6 generations now. So, fought on the side of Texas and, has never been from Mexico, whatever, And my mother was very much that way. She could speak fluent Spanish, but she would refuse to do it in a damn drive-through. And I would just be like, oh, they're going to spit in our shit, dude. She's and she's like, would not, she would talk Spanish to them if they kept talking Spanish to her, but then she would get mad and make them speak English. So my mother was just that way. She was very argumentative. But she was very proud of her American heritage, and she was a big Trump supporter.
That way too.
Yeah, and my mom was a Trump supporter, and my dad was not, and now he is. He's seen, hey, this other side is just basically got that retardation.
If you want to really have some fun, I could teach you how to order in French.
Well, I might be able to. What are we trying to order?
You want to see panic? I don't know. Go through Starbucks or something like that.
Okay.
I could teach you how to say it and just watch them crowd around the window. I did that here in Windsor when I was visiting my buddy down there. I ordered completely in French. I said, "Watch this." And then we pull up, and there's 3 of them. They're like just congregating around the window trying to figure out what I was saying. It's hilarious. Oh, yeah.
Well, if you speak French, I always thought of Starbucks as kind of le pédé.
Expensive
Douglas pédé, It's kind of, that's what,
Yeah, I had a girlfriend from France years ago, and she absolutely hated French Canadians. She said that it was the most disgusting mutt French she'd ever heard in her life. Couldn't
that's
say
like
enough
going
bad
to
things
Louisiana
about
and
them.
trying to say that the Cajuns are French, but the Cajuns will know some bad words and they'll speak some French, mon ami, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be like the oui, whatever.
Serious question though. We were talking about vampires earlier, and I was kind of curious about this. And that was kind of curious. I wondered if you knew if, with the vampiric, how do I put this? With the jab, right? How would you suppose that they would handle infected blood like that?
They're already infected.
Yeah.
With that,
They already have the Hydra. The Hydra, here's the thing. If you talk about the JAB, right, it is the Hydra. The graphene that they use in that is a component. Remember we were talking, Sean, about fractals of the fractal soul and all that? You got to go back and watch the Chronicles. the show in and of itself, the way the show works, folks, is you have to watch every episode. And I hate to say that because it sounds like I'm shamelessly plugging my show, and I am.
No, it
But you
makes
should,
sense though.
but you really should, because there's an overarching theme to the show. Then there's little themes, and then there's smaller themes on down to the bottom. Here's the thing you got to understand. We got into one of those with Sean. And Sean was a very key component. That's why we kept going, and we analyzed so many different things of what he was talking about and stretched it out. We have a lot of other people to record with, and we've already done that, and we've been recording every day. We're going to record again tonight. So we're trying to catch up. But here's the thing. When Sean talked about his higher self and the soul matrix, the fractal soul, and we got into this whole thing about it, right? That is a component of it. And what I mean is the Hydra in and of itself is a fractal of a higher being. That higher being is, and this is going to sound nuts, and I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to, I don't know. It is the Vril. It is the draconian blood. Right? But that in of itself is of the black goo, and the black goo is of the dark matter. And there's actually the name to it. It's a dark star that fell and came down inside of itself, which created the abyss 12 billion years ago. This is crazy to say these things, and somebody's going to go, this guy is cuckoo pebbles. But they said that Reagan was nuts when he talked about a space force and we needed to protect ourselves, because he knew that the Dracos were there. He knew that they had others underneath them. Who was talking earlier, Sean or Drake, one of y'all, about how the Dracos had taken over these other beings? Okay. The lion people, what did we talk about last night when we recorded about the foo dogs, the shishi? They're lions, right? But they looked like reptilians, didn't they? And they were chasing that military guy, that army guy. And they had his whole squad cordoned off from everybody else so they could talk about what. And then when they figured out, hey, you know what? Sign this non-disclosure and get the F out of here. You don't want to keep going. That's because those foo dogs. You ever seen a foo dog? You know what that is? It holds the ball. This is what I believe. I believe that is. This is going to sound completely nuts, but it goes in time with what Under Fire said, because that is their form of transportation. That ball, that sphere, which represents, the ever-changing Earth, not a round globe of the Earth, but like the Earth, the Earth, the matter, right? When the foo dog is its foot on there, that is that it can travel anywhere, because that orb is its transportation. And I believe that this is a species that was once taken down by the dragons. I do. And the dragons are the draconians. The draconian blood is black. When you look at these beings, there are people who have claimed that they have seen their blood, and it looks like goo, a black goo. In particular, the Vril. They need human blood to continue to give them sustenance, to give them life, to keep them connected to this reality. Otherwise, they have to go through the mercurial mirror. See, this is way ahead of what I really want to be talking about, because the way the show is in steps. You know what I mean? But who knows what could happen today or tomorrow or the next week.
That was the same type of goo from the werewolf show, right? With what he was going through, they had to wash in that, I believe, to get the parasites off.
To get the parasites off, that's a mercurial type element. But it's an element that we don't have here on Earth, but it comes from a parallel Earth.
Yeah, another dimension.
Yeah, and now, think of what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. The shows often do this, but radium. The Rothschilds are bathing in radium, and it is a byproduct of the breakdown of the element uranium. Right?
A couple of breakdowns, but yes.
Yeah, a couple of breakdowns. And then you have plutonium and neptunium and all these others that do the same thing, the yellow cake and all that stuff.
They split apart.
So they're missing electrons and neutrons, and everything is an electron, a neutron, or because these are the subatomic particles, right? So get this, everything is an electron, a neutron, or a don't tell me. No, don't tell me. electron, neutron, proton. So the other proton's a positive, electron's negative, and the neutron's neutral, right? So this is what you have, right? This is what are the building blocks of life, but splitting these can create nuclear, whatever.
Well, you're changing the atomic identity, so you need the
Mhm.
power of the universe to split or combine.
Exactly. If you were to put us into a petri dish and then nuclear splitting of the atom, which creates a nuclear energy, you could create a timeline. Like if it went just straight like this, boom, like they say there was a hot dot. I actually believe that. But here's the thing. Jesus talks about God as being like the one that was pre-existent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that means? He was around before existence.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to look at the timeline, say it went in all different directions, but either in any direction, we talked about this before with Tim Horton here and Drake and Under Fire, that the math ain't mathing. There are equations that you can't. Everything is phi, and I don't know why they use pi r squared. That's fine, but everything is phi because this
Phi?
number is phi. Look at phi, phi. Go look it up.
Oh, PHI.
Yeah, go look up phi. Look up phi, Anthony. See what it says. Everything. There are numbers that come up in nature over and over and over again, and there are codes.
The
Why is
golden
that?
ratio.
Golden
I think
ratio
that's what
number,
you
yeah.
The
meant.
golden ratio, right?
Good
My
launch.
pen here. You see
I think
the
it's
pen?
like 1.618.
1.618. Now you look at my pen.
The
right here.
approximation of it, yeah.
Time is like this. It's straight, right? Let's pretend, right?
Huh.
Let's just go in the world and make believe that the Rothschilds want us to believe. Here's time right here. Time begins right there. But
Five
for
over
some
three.
reason, it only goes in one direction, right? But that doesn't make any sense. Why would time just go? If there was an explosion, a hot dot, wouldn't time go in all different directions? But if you have something going up, or at least according to the Cartesian whatever, you have something that goes down. If you have something that goes left, something has to go right? So if you were to go this way, this is like, let's just pretend like this is the beginning of history right here for us. And going this way goes into the future. What if you go backwards all the way
You
to the
should still
beginning?
have something the other way
Then
too.
if you go the other way, so then,
Yeah, the
then if you
opposite.
go far enough back into the past, then you begin to go into the future, the other way.
That's actually how the theory of relativity, if you go
Mhm.
supposedly past the speed of light, it goes the opposite
In
direction.
the opposite,
The
because
counter.
everything is circular.
Oh.
There is no real straight up and down lines. But get
Yes.
this. This is proof to me that there has been genetic tampering. Look at your face. This is the triangle right here. From the nose, like that, there's a triangle. You see that?
Mhm.
And then
That's
from the
how you-
nose, yeah. Then like this,
Yeah.
and then down is another triangle. You know what that makes? An hourglass. Two upside down, two triangles facing each other. Now move them inward. What does that make? That makes the Star of Remphan. It's a human number, 666, and the sides of it.
Mhm.
Then there is a spider, right? And this ties into the Choctaw myth of the creation. The spider that what I'm talking about, and it's known around the world for a red hourglass when there are no straight lines in nature, but there are two triangles facing each other on its abdomen. And people are stupid enough to sit there and argue with me and tell me that that is a naturally occurring thing. Bullshit.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense because it doesn't offer any tactical or
Exactly.
revolutionary advantage.
Nothing. There is nothing that is good for that to have that on its abdomen. But the practical applications of its webbing, it can literally stop bullets.
Yeah.
I know because I have one. I have a bulletproof vest
Yeah, they make
that is
Kevlar from it.
made from the webbing of the widow. If you ever get caught in one of their webs, it's a horrible feeling. You feel that hard webbing, and you're like, "What in the hell? Where is it at?" It's happened to me before, crawling around in an attic. You know, it was
There's something in there too. But if you look at people, you look at their face, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the shape of a cross right on your face.
Yeah.
You see all of your major things, your nose, your mouth, and then you have the eyebrows going like the eyes on the cross, and it goes right like that. That's how I've actually seen it before. So whenever you look at somebody, you actually see like a picture of Christ, like a visage of Christ. You see the cross.
Divine specimen.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, that's kind of cool. I always thought that was kind of neat.
These pyramids, these triangles, these things are very, very potent. They hold energy. And there's ways to harness energy in and of yourself if you wanted to. One way is to just sit and hold your hands right here below your chest. And if you do it for 20 minutes, you'll get a rush of energy. If you take your hands like this and you put them on the ends of your knees and you just sit there and close your eyes, look straight ahead, you'll get a rush of energy better than any cup of coffee.
I could use that.
I'm not even joking. That is Anthony, I taught him that when he was young, didn't I?
Yeah, years ago.
Years ago. Do it. And
So
you'll
is
get
that
a rush
under
of
your
energy.
knees, you said?
Do what?
Under your knees?
No. Show him. Well, maybe you can show him how to do it, like how it works.
Yeah, so like right here, let me back up. Right here, or like on the ends of your knees, and
Okay.
you just sit like that, or like this on the ends of your knees, 20 minutes, and just
Really?
kind of empty your mind.
Empty your mind,
Mm-hmm.
like you would empty your pockets, and then it'll give you a rush of energy. You'll also get clarity too. And then different things can come to you too, good or bad. Though you got to be prayed up before you do anything. It's a mild form of meditation, and it can literally show you answers, things. You start to learn that there has been genetic tampering from way back, going before, because like I said, it's so bizarre how time really is. But time isn't just linear. It's like this, it's like this, it's like that, and it shoots off in all these different directions. There's all these variables. And through string theory, we know that there are these curled up little pocket dimensions that they're just like, well, that's this little curled up pocket dimension thing. Yeah, because that's where the cryptids are taking you. True.
That's what I was going to say, is that on the timeline, if one goes this way, another has to go that way. So that's the other dimensions. If one goes up, another goes down. So this explains, it's a perfect explanation of these parallel dimensions that we seem to have an infinite amount of.
When you guys get to talk to Tiki, some of the stuff she talks about is going to other demi-planes, small realities, encountering some other beings and entities. Really interesting stuff. And again, you begin figuring out how this is all interconnected, and everything's interconnected. It's just reality is nothing like we think it is.
No, not at all. And the thing is, the show here, we've done people's encounters. We've talked on science. To me, science is magic is science. We just don't know how to use yet, and probably shouldn't. At least not until we know what it is that we're dealing with. Geometry, sacred geometry, numbers are everything. They try to make it out like numbers are like it's bad, like numerology is a bad thing. Numerology just has that ology at the end, so it sounds bad, but really and truly, all it is just prediction based upon numbers.
Study of numbers and what they repeat, because humans are very good at looking at patterns of things, whether right or wrong, but we tend to associate better.
It's fascinating how that gematria stuff works. I heard a couple of mathematicians talking about it, and the one lady, she was a German lady, she's like, it's real, I didn't believe it. She goes, there's something to it, and she's trying to explain it, but she was just so blown away by the actual reality of the situation, and she couldn't really put it into words. But
I could tell you, and Scorpion's big into numerology. Him and my friend Jerome both studied numerology extensively. And one of the things that I can tell you, I can give you, if I had your numbers of your birth and everything else, I could give you a breakdown of your life path. And I can tell you, and I've been accused of all kinds of shit because to me, it's just being intelligent. And if you're hyper intelligent, then you understand. It's the understanding. But you have to teach yourself. This is going to sound weird, but you have to teach yourself to learn. What I mean is, people don't just automatically know things. You have to learn to know things. When I first shot I've only shot deer twice in my life. First time, my dad was like, "You made a mess of that buck. You got on my ass." Second time, knew what I was doing. I was 14 or 16. I did it, whatever. Well, I didn't actually shoot the buck that time. I helped my cousin Clayton dress his buck, but I understood it. I did it. And my dad said, if you've never done something, pay attention and watch somebody. And he goes, but you're looking around, you're fidgeting, you're not paying attention. He goes, learn to
Apology.
not,
Better yet.
He told
That's
me,
correct.
he says, watch it. Just watch it and actually focus and pay attention and go into a zone. He always told me about how he learned to do things just by going into the zone. He said, and give your full attention to focus on whatever it is that you are doing. And he goes, and then you'll only have to see it one time. And if you really focus, but what I think my dad had is something that I have, which is like a photographic memory. A lot of people don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I believe in my heart, I really believe that if you have the IQ of a turnip, you could teach yourself to become smarter. You could teach yourself to gain those things. Knowledge is attainable. You don't have to go and do magic to figure it out. It's inherent in all of us. But what they did was, and I say they, is in the Watchers, the Anunnaki, the Fallen, the Nephil, the Nephidim, the whatever, the Ohadim or Ohayud, whatever, whichever ones you want to call them. They've all tampered with us. And they've turned a lot of that off. The healing power that we have. Why does a lizard regrow a limb and we don't? Because it's turned on in them and turned off in us. It's very simple. And I think that anything is possible. And over the coming years, and I had this conversation with Chris Gaetano. He's a good friend of mine. Everybody knows he's a filmmaker, whatever. He's been on the show. We had a conversation not too long ago. We were talking, and he said that within our lifetime, this is what he believes. And he said in our lifetime, they're going to figure out how to live indefinitely, but it's up to you to do it. But you know what I told him? I said, even with that, there will be so many mentally stupid, lazy people who will not do those things. Because how many people are doing the Wim Hof breathing that I recommended? How many people are taking a cold shower every day? I do. How many people are going to the gym and religiously doing that? And every day saying the morning prayer? I know you do, Tim. Saying the morning prayer and then saying your daily prayers. Who's doing all this? Who's doing this? Who is sitting down every day and going through ritualistically to do these things? A lot of people will not do them. They will not get in touch with their higher self, like Sean. Yeah. And we've talked about this. But I'm telling everybody in this audience right now, you're not ever going to be a god or a demigod because I don't believe that exists. But you could be a superhuman. And the only thing that's going to separate you from a person that's a regular person, like an NPC, a non-playable character, or a non-participant character, or someone who is a superhuman, is the patternistic and ritualistically doing of positive things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do it. If you practice it, you can, like the girl that beat the shit out of that dude. That was funny. I mean, she whooped his ass because she ritualistically every day trains, like, and this dude's over there like, yeah, man, I'm drinking from the Super Bowl. Let me go hit a heavy bag. And
which one was she?
She was April, but with the ability of Michelangelo, I guess. But she whipped his ass, but that's what you get. Because I hate stupid, lazy people who won't do anything. I used to coach guys. So one time you're late, fine. Second time you're late. I said, look, if you're late again, there better be a death in the family or don't come back. You want to learn how to fight or don't you?
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. And I used to do a lot of different things that I know that I won't do now, and that's harnessing of energy because I was like, oh, it's neutral. Not always. And I would just accept it, but I don't do that now. I don't accept energy that's not positive. Even if it was to do what I had to do, to fight, whatever. Jokingly, I'm let into the dark Hadouken. I don't do it. But there are people that do harness that dark energy, and they'll use it, and they'll watch when people do these finger prayers. They'll do this, that, all that. Be careful, because there was a guy on the show the other day. He was talking about ninjutsu. Does anybody know what the dark inversion of that is?
No, actually.
Yeah, it was Alan Garcia. I don't know. We could message him and maybe he could tell us because it would be interesting to hear him talk about it. But he was talking about the Tengu. It's an interesting thing. It'd be a whole nother hour of the show, which I don't have. But it really is interesting how these people can take dark energy and fight. They use it to fight. It's basically like they teach you how to not only go into the shadows for espionage and assassination and things like that, but to actually go to sidestep into a shadow that makes you invisible, like actually invisible.
I was just going to say, when they said that they can go invisible, I believe that.
They do, and it's that pocket reality. And they say this is what Hyperboreans would say. Remember, we had the Hyperborean guy on the show that time. Hyperboreans will tell you that is the invisibility to the demiurge. Right now, I'm not telling you that's what that's like. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying that you should put that into practice. I'm saying that there are people that do that, though. They really do. And if you don't think that the governments of our world, and especially the shadow governments, and everyone has one, that they're not doing it themselves, they will absolutely do that. But hiding from the demiurge or the shaitan is one thing. You cannot hide from the true one living God, the Father of Christ, he who controls and sees all. There's nothing you can do because he is a pre-existent being. Nathan says Hyperborea confuses me still. If you stop and you look at things outside of the numbers, that's really it's kind of like, oh, we figured it out. We're thinking outside the box. We're outside the numbers. There is really no outside of numbers. It's just a negativity below a zero, and then everything goes the other way. And then they're like, oh, we figured it out because we can see into the past, which helps us see into the other future. And then there's a whole world within the world, within the world, within the world. It's like Russian dolls. And that's the same thing we were talking about earlier with Judaism. There is the Judaism, and then there's the Judaism, and there's the Judaism, and there's the Judaism, and it goes down to the very base and what it is and how it became what it is. But what it started out and what it was at the time of Christ is not what has become now. It's a Talmudic, the Judaism has been hijacked by Babylonian Talmudism. And unfortunately, they have control. And now they have used that they've hooked it into Christianity, and through that, they have seized control of governments, of money, of everything. So to unhook, right? And it's literally the tentacles of a spider. It's like it's like a spider, really. It really is.
Yeah, like a spider's web.
A web.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you look at the Black Widow with the two red triangles, and all you got to do is move them like that, and then you get the 6-pointed star. It's right there in front of you, and black and red equals poison in nature. Yeah, it's really interesting when you read between the lines. It's really interesting. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that I learned over the years, but I would never use them. Like if I wanted to use that, it's like using a nuke. I'm not going to do it. I just won't do it. My enemies were using black magic. I promise you, this is the truth. They were using black magic in every form they could. They threw it at us in every way. At any given time, I could have thrown something back at them, and I did not do it because I will not enter into that. I won't fight like that. I don't need to. I don't have to. As long as you have the shield of truth, the armor of God, sword of righteousness, you don't need it. You can fight correctly and you can win. It's a long, drawn out, protracted struggle, but we're nearing the end and people are seeing the truth now, and we're being vindicated. Because I kept telling everybody these people are liars, and I stood by as we lost numbers, we lost people, and we hemorrhaged everything. Money, war is expensive in every facet. But Anthony sat here and told them, you will not win this war. Because and I know how to wage it. I don't want to. I do not want to. But they force your hand. They force you to defend yourself. Know how to wage it, but that doesn't mean to become a tyrannical, warmongering bully, and I'm not. They tried to paint me as that. They tried to paint me as everything they could possibly throw at me. But the truth is the truth, and it always comes out. What is done in the dark will come out in the light. And as the show goes on, you're going to learn more and more. You get these encounters and you use them as a springboard to teach people, like, this is what is happening. This is why this is happening. What other show is doing that? They'll give you tons of encounters of all kinds of weird stuff, but are they telling you why or how?
No, nobody's trying to weave it together.
No, nobody is. And now we have the true crime paranormal going. And then if you want a quick, dopamine fix or whatever it is they say when you get the little whatever, go watch Dead Zone Transmissions. Nellie's got the little shorts episodes,
Well, I
This
could say
has been
this. Today I was listening to the live show episode 422, and you were putting your heart on your sleeve there about that was the episode where James Jones came on, and I think it was after the whole debacle with him, and he was explaining, how everybody like yourself, Dick Richards, and everybody in the community is just coming together, and how you brought the community together like this, and how the other side is just basically, trying to destroy it, and, with the lies and everything like that. But, that just proved to me that, I've only discovered this not too long ago. Like you guys, I actually saw you on LA Marzulli one time, and that's what directed me here. But, and I said it in the chat earlier, I said, this is such a great community just to be a part of. I mean, everybody comes, discusses whatever. I mean, today was just a hodgepodge of everything. It's great.
Yep.
You get to learn things here and there, but everybody's respectable. And everybody in the chat and everybody here on the panel, I mean, you bring something different, you learn something different, right? Everybody brings a piece of the puzzle to the entire thing. We don't all have the answers, but I mean, it's great. It's been absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, just keep your head up and keep on going, man.
Yeah, I give full credit to Wolf about this, though, man, because he really is the pinnacle of this. He really has brought all of this stuff together, and kudos where it's due.
Yep.
Yeah, kudos where it's due.
Yeah. I mean, they're not even worth a thought or a time of day. And I mean, from what you were saying lately, too, with just focusing on the show and nothing what they were saying, I mean, that's all you got to do, man. The show will speak for itself.
What's interesting, what we were talking about earlier with the Tengu, if you look up what the Tengu is, it's actually a type of dog, a heavenly dog in Japanese culture. And it's interesting because the Fu dog or the Shishi, and they have their own versions of that in Japanese, whatever. But they look like these lions, and sometimes they have scales like a reptilian, which is what Sean was talking about, how they take them and they hybridize them. And there's all these different like styles of martial arts that use that Tengu, whatever. And each of those little finger prayers can represent tapping into a type of animal avatar. And they can give you a certain type of power, but it often centers around like the triangle, like it's like, doing all the. I don't do it. I don't recommend it. The yokai, yes. Humanoid bird yokai, Tengu, yeah. And so there is a type of people in ninjutsu who actually will they use the Tengu, as their symbol and their whatever. I don't. They're just like the Order of Nine Angles. They're to be avoided. A couple of my friends back in the day, one of them who's lives here in the States now, and he's been in prison. And Anthony knows who I'm talking about. And he was a gangster. I mean, let's just, there's no way to put it. His body's covered in tattoos. And but he had his own experiences with these people. And he says, dude, they can shapeshift.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's Yakuza. And he told me, he's like, his family was like freaking 8 generations into that. And he goes, they can shapeshift, dude. He's like, they're to be avoided at all costs. And there's things you can do, in preparation for, a violence and whatever. But there's Levantian types of things that, there's Asian, there's all these different types, but you got to be real careful with what you're dealing with and what you're facing. And I'll see it too. I'll see opponents like in martial arts, you'll see them doing these different symbols and things like that. I don't know if they all know exactly what they're doing because some sensei or shidoshi taught them those things. And you'll see them doing them, and you're just like, and sometimes they'll do them like, like to the side, and then, and then they'll do them.
Don't they do
forward.
it in Thai kickboxing too?
Yeah, and it depends on who's teaching you. And some of these people, some of these coaches, absolutely reject it. I don't think you should totally reject the energy intake and the deliverance of it. But if it is completely just a devastating type of energy that you're bringing in, that's used for the destruction, depends upon what you're destroying. Is it a divine destruction? Because there is a divine destruction, but you got to be very careful, because Kali can be like one of those things, like in the India culture of India, like it can be good or bad, and it depends on what you're trying to destroy. If you're fighting the good fight, it's one thing, but a lot of people don't do that. They're just doing it because they want to hurt whoever they're fighting, and they will use that to devastate someone. And I'm guilty of it too. Back in the day, I used this energy, but I was ignorant of what it was until I looked into it, and I said, "Oh, this is not tapping into something necessarily. It's not a demon. It's not an angel. It is the energy." And what people need to understand is the energy has its own reality. It has its own everything. The black goo. And one day we're going to get deeper into that. The question was asked, and we got off on this, whatever, but the question was asked was the JAB. Would it affect these people? And the answer is absolutely not, because they already have it. They are already shedding proteins. They are already doing all of those things. It doesn't matter, because that is who or what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So is it maybe to get our blood closer to what they have?
Yeah, because they want you to be more edible. Sounds awful. I mean,
and what you were talking about, DNA manipulation as well.
Sorry, I got 36% fat. I'm sorry, man. I'm not good for your diet.
They're just like,
Well, that's even better.
Because they're talking to one of them, and they're just like,
Is it
Well
marbled in?
marbled.
Oh, boy,
Well
who's
marbled.
this fat ass?
36%.
This one has superior marbling.
We should take this human with us.
Wagyu human.
Wagyu human. The way that they do it too is so insidious, though, because they can bite you or they can give you their saliva. I tell people this all the time in my daily life. I don't know if I've said it on the show. Never drink out of a cup from a restaurant. Do not drink after anyone. One of the things that I was told, because we have a security company, there's all these homeless people, and there was this guy who has, I don't know, you've seen him, Anthony, over there. I don't want to say where. Well, it's off of Congress, and he looks like he's melting, dude. I'm not even joking. His skin, his skin is falling off, bro. And I thought that I told Anthony the other day, or no, it was me and you. It was me, you, and Tony was with us. And I said, this dude looks like he's got like because my brother has psoriasis, but he can take stuff to get it under control. I said, maybe it's like psoriasis. And Anthony goes, he looks like he walked through a radioactive, like he looked like the Toxic Avenger, dude, right?
Mm.
I remember this guy a few months before, and I had talked to him, and he was starting to get that condition because of he would come to one of our, he wouldn't come. He was a nice guy in the way that he would just cut through the property. So some of the guards would be like, no, you can't pass. Me, I was just pretty chill. I would be like, look, dude, as long as you're just walking through and you don't stop and dig in our trash can. So one day I came onto the property and he was digging through the trash can, and two of the guards were up front dealing with another problem. That problem is bad over there where that place is at. That's where Queen Boudica was telling me that they were going to basically tell me what to do. And I thought it was bullshit until I walked into the woods and heard a bunch of screaming and yelling. And then I said, oh, okay, actually you do have an army. I walked back out because these people are Lord of the Flies in there. Okay. And the police know too. They don't go in there. What did they tell us? He said, don't go in unless you have like half a dozen guys. I'm like, I can't spare half a dozen guys and get spears thrown at us in there. Well, then don't go in there. We don't go. And I'm like, wow, great. So that property, right? So this guy, they don't mess with him though. These people don't mess with him. These tribal, whatever they are. Because he's got a disease. So I questioned this guy one day and I asked him, I said, hey, what is this? They say you have a disease. And he says, yeah. He goes, there's something that happens. And he named this taco, well, it's a burrito place across the street. And he says, I would go in there and I would sit at the table, and when people would leave, I would eat and drink after them. He's like, and I think I got something from somebody,
Wow.
and now I have this skin problem. And I thought about that, and I was like, really? You think that's what it was? He goes, yeah, because it's happening to a lot of us. Then we started noticing that it is. A lot of them have skin problems, even the ones that aren't doing drugs, because they're getting something from eating and drinking after these people. Now think about this. We started noticing this problem at when? About 2021?
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What happened in 2021?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so a couple of these homeless people have told my guards, one of them who doesn't watch shows, she doesn't know anything of this, but she said that one of them was throwing up black substance right there in the parking garage. And when the maintenance guys came and they couldn't get rid of it with water. They had to throw like this, whatever, what is it they used? Baking soda or something.
Yeah.
They threw something on it and eventually it absorbed it and they were able to scrape it up. And the maintenance guy, I've known him for years, and he was like, I've never seen anybody throw up something like this. He said it has to be from a motor vehicle because it was like oil. And the guard was like, no, that was vomit. What are these people eating? Well, when you're dumpster diving and you're sitting in the restaurant, yeah, you, Tim, yeah, we know. but you're eating radioactive Tim Hortons. That's destroying this destroys the.
It like counterbalances the two.
Canadians don't throw up black stuff. It's not nice. We throw up like, I don't know, yellow or something pleasant. Because we're nice like that. Right?
They're nice. They're like, hey, I'm throwing up yellow, eh?
Hey,
yellow cake.
I'm cooking yellowy.
So what it is this goo or whatever? But I mean, it's the Hydra. That's what it is. I mean, I really believe that. And when they're doing this, and how many people are observing this and putting it together? Because not many people have this kind of platform, a show where they're going like, oh, you're able to put the pieces together. Because so many of these people, and I'm not attacking people. I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody, but damn, let's get their shit together. How many of these people have platforms like this? They have bigger shows than me. We don't do big numbers on this Monday show, but you learn a lot on this show.
Damn right.
I show up here,
quantity, man.
Barely get anybody in here. You get 300 people in the chat, right? Maybe not even that, because it's not the sexy dogman encounters and all that shit. But you do get people tell some stories in here too. But right now, what we're talking about is very important because nobody is paying attention to this, but we do, and we are. And I'm sitting here, and I'm willing to go up and talk to some of these homeless people. The next time it happens, I'm just going to take my phone out and ask them, because they'll get curious to take your phone out. But I'm going to ask them, can I interview you and get these people to tell us what is happening out there in the streets with these people? Because they are on the front lines and they're falling apart and they're having all these crazy, weird things happen to them. And you know what it is? If you're drinking and eating after these people who have the Hydra, what do you think is going to happen when they're shedding these proteins? And how many of these people are even really people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a woman the other day tell me, it's funny you have a San Francisco hat on. She was she was not in San Francisco. She was in Foster City, but she went on a date with this guy. And she goes, he didn't eat or drink anything. And then I saw his eyes slit up and I was like, oh, I'm done.
She was on the menu.
Mm-hmm. She was like, I'm done with this. Well, I'll see you. And he kept trying to get her to go back to his place. And she was like, nope, I'm good. What are we dealing with?
We're going through the most important thing that's ever happened in our lifetime by far right now. And it's in darkness. It's in freaking darkness. I don't know if it's denial because it ain't just a river in Egypt, but there's been so many rivers crossed and so much. It's madness. It's madness what's happening to mankind right now. And it's all in darkness. Sure, there's lots of people that have woken up to it, but have they really woken up to the reality of the situation?
The real reality.
Yeah, the real reality. Yeah, why do 95% of people have BLE MAC addresses right now? Like, give me a freaking break.
When you talk to the in there, the whole dead internet theory too. I mean, that's
Pacemakers.
how many people are real people. You know what I mean? Like, how many people are real people?
I've got to shoot off, so
just the name and number.
Yeah, actually, I do too. Actually, but
Sean.
John, I'll see you, man. Thank you. And I see Tack in the Takayasha's in the chat. Let's set it up. Let's get together. Takayasha, email me a time because I recorded with Joel, and so now I'm ready to record with you. And let's get it going. And Sean, I'd love to have you on board.
Absolutely.
You and Master Deco pair, and we'll get it going.
Excellent.
Okay, I'll see you.
Take care.
God bless, brother.
So what we have to do, is dig deeper and figure out why the hell this is happening. And you brought up a very good point, Rick, about what it does to these people. It is their own concoction, so it's not going to hurt them. You know what I mean? Because I think we are ingesting their DNA.
Yeah. I said that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
I brought that up long ago, that we're literally ingesting their DNA, the DNA of the fallen ones.
Hey, Richard, have you seen anything like in your neck of the woods about like people like either throwing up black or slitted eyes or something like that? I haven't noticed anything down here, but
I haven't noticed anything down here. But what the thing is that I've noticed is the amount of people that aren't here anymore. The amount of people that aren't here, and if they didn't bring all these new folks in, that you would say, "Oh my goodness, where did everybody go?" I noticed that the obituary pages are filled every week.
Really,
I've noticed that since 2021 that the ambulance and the paramedics have not stopped.
I've been seeing a lot of that.
I have a list. I have a list that was when I threw the list, buddy. I got so ticked off that I was just like, I can't even keep. Of people who told me this person, my cousin, my brother, my sister, my friend, this person, that person, this person. Mm-hmm. And still, like the truth dies in darkness.
I've been seeing a growth of the NPCs. Lots of NPCs.
Yeah. And everybody's walking around stunned.
Anthony, tell them about the guy that got
Nothing's
punched.
happening. Nothing's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Elbows up.
The worst way to fight.
Yeah.
I saw a video of a guy who was he was on the subway, like he was waiting for a train on a subway, and he had he was in a public place surrounded by people, and he had these headphones on, and you see him just like scrolling through his phone, completely oblivious to the world around him, just totally not participating in reality, completely immersed in this virtual world. And on the camera footage, you see this guy like coming up from the side, and he's all animated. He's like some crazy looking homeless dude, and but you can tell that guy he's like looking for a target, looking for someone to mess with. And he sees that one guy standing there not paying attention with his big stupid headphones on, just completely engrossed in his cell phone. And you see him walk up to the guy and just nail him, just cold cock him,
knock him out.
He hits that guy so hard, it's like his fist basically like slams his head into the concrete, into the ground. Probably killed the guy. But I don't get how you can be that much of a non-participant in reality, and how you can shut yourself off, shut every sense off to like have zero situational awareness. Like, what do you think is what do you think this is? You're in a public place in taking public transportation where homeless people are.
Yeah, but, head on a swivel.
I mean, he's probably one of those people who got the the jab. I wouldn't be surprised.
He's got that Hydra in him, and it doesn't matter.
It's like it removes your natural survival instinct.
Survival instincts
common sense,
are just done.
Yeah.
That's why I said, the sheeple, we're wolves. You got to wear that sheeple skin to blend in with, but don't be fooled. And some people have attacked me. They're like, well, of course, this one guy, he likes to talk like this and he's an idiot. Yeah, PRT's talking about wolves and sheep's clothing. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting is that you need to go take a psychosexual evaluation. How about that? How about you go do that? Shut the
Or a
fuck up.
parasite cleanse.
I'd rather have Cheetos and Dr. Pepper. Thank you very much.
I want to
But
say
the,
one thing to everybody that did willingly or unwillingly participate is that you can order this stuff called Masterpiece Zeolite, and that seems to be the greatest thing to detox some of this stuff. Now, it's in all of us. They're spraying it. It's in all the food. It's in everything. It's gone from one person to another person through transfection. It's meant to do that. So we all got a little taste of the cocktail. Let's just say that we've all had a little something. But if you do the proper thing and you do that cleanse with the Masterpiece Zeolite, activated charcoal, bentonite clay, you can get majority of this out of you. And they are getting people that are able to turn off these Bluetooth low energy MAC addresses that they've got. Some people 2 and 3. Like, dude, for the first, I could watch my neighbors walk around on the BLE scanner I've got on my phone. I could watch my neighbors walk around their apartments. Literally.
Oh, you got one of those scanners too. Yeah, I do see a lot of traffic in the air now.
Bro, yeah, all of those unregistered MAC addresses. I know all of those unregistered 12-digit addresses. Yeah, I know.
Although technically only the first to 6 digits registered to an organization unit, but generally the last usually unifies. So you can find the same person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bounce off here, guys. But thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for being here at PRT. This was our Monday show. Monday, we just kind of spitball, we talk, we do whatever.
Good to join in with Wolf here.
This was a great show. Great show.
I'm telling you, man, this is my Monday nights now.
Amen, brother.
Awesome. Same here.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys.
Yeah, and you could thank Chado for keeping me going on here because I was gonna leave, and then he goes, he's like. You know how he talks. He's like, "Don't leave, bro. Monday sucks." He's like, "If it's not a good game on TV, then there's nothing to watch." I said, "Okay, all right, we'll stay with it."
Chado's one of a kind, but I love
I don't know where
guy.
Chado's at, but he's a crazy guy. He knows a lot, dude.
He does.
He was the one talking about the Tengu the other day, and I was just kind of going like, cringe. Okay, what's he gonna say? Let's not get into this. But he did. So I said, you know what? The hell with it. Let's roll the dice. Whatever. But and the thing is, you remember, we're on pretty much every night right now. So tomorrow night, the Patreon, join the Patreons, $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 tier. Tomorrow night's going to be awesome because we're going to talk about Bigfoot, the nature of reality, and get into some reports in New Mexico. We have had some really weird Bigfoot encounters. Some of them are just Bigfoot and some of them are just weird, but we do it all, and we're going to be exploring New Mexico reports tomorrow. And we're not doing the entire state. We just kind of focus on little different areas so we can always go back and redo those states again. But Texas, we haven't touched because there's just so much of it here. I'm just waiting around until we can get some of these other states out of the way. But it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed the Patreon. It's been really good. We're going to have the live stream tomorrow night. What time are we thinking? Because we're going to go a little earlier tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably get started by 7.
We've been trying to do earlier on the Patreon.
Can I just say one thing about Texas, Wolf? Remember I was asking you why there's so much paranormal activity in Texas and why it seems like it's a real hub for paranormal activity? Do you remember that they were building like a Hadron Collider like thing in Texas and then all of a sudden they just decided one day to stop?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like they stopped. But I think their mission was complete. Why would they build a Hadron Collider type thing in Texas if it wasn't some sort of something in Texas to harness, right?
Yeah.
If there wasn't some sort of a dimensional doorway. And I think that probably explains a lot of this paranormal activity that seems to be centered in Texas.
Do you know that they don't build basements here in Texas?
That's weird.
They don't, right? And their excuses are so weird because topographically, we have so many varying types of soil that it doesn't make sense. They're like, oh, well, we can't build it because of the black land. We can't build it because of the limestone. We can't build it because of, and I'm like, there's like so many different types of soil here. Why would it all just not, they just don't do it.
Because you'll hit one of the tunnels underneath the ground.
Exactly, because underneath us here in Texas is a very heavy inner earth activity.
It must be.
I had a friend who lived out in West Texas, and actually Anthony knows him. He's a butcher now. His dad was too, but he used to live out in West Texas. And when he told me when we were young that two of the houses that in their neighborhood that they caved in, and there were tunnels down there. And he said for the 2 or 3 years they were living there, they were hearing weird voices and noises coming from underneath their house. It sounded like machinery and stuff like that. Like, what is that? What's going on there? I've heard that quite a bit. And so it doesn't make sense. Now, if you were in California, I could understand because you have, the San Andreas Fault. But here, I mean, you do have the what's it called? Estacado, the Alano Estacado. No, what is it called? The Edwards Aquifer and I think it's called the Alano Estacado, whatever. Where they say that the fault goes like this instead of like that. I don't believe that. I've seen I think that's complete and total bullshit because we're sitting on tons and tons of rock right here where we're at right now. So why is there is there an entire underground city under Austin? I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Did you know that our original here in Austin, this is true, the original city hall is underground? There's an entire underground city with tunnels and everything underneath. I've been there. Yeah, there's an entire underground world underneath Austin. So
why is that?
I've heard of that story as well as something similar in Pasadena as well. So
it's everywhere.
I think it all used to be above ground, personally.
What I think is that they can build these if you really wanted to, but they don't do it. There are no houses with basements. Now, some people that live out in the country do it. They'll build down in there. But in the cities, they won't let you do it. They won't give you a permit for it.
So weird.
Very odd.
The city won't give you a permit for it.
They won't let you.
You want to look up a good documentary on about the underground cities? Look up Underground Aurelia, and that's a city that's an hour away from me, beside a city called Barrie, which is the closest city.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and they go into all these underground tunnels and they open up all of these caverns that used to be, and they're like, "Oh, how did this get made? And who used to live here?" And they really skirt around the topic, but it basically proves what Wolf's saying about all these underground cities.
Wow, that's crazy.
And what used to be above ground.
Yeah, I did hear about Aurelia.
Yeah. I mean, eventually it's all going to come to the light. I mean, and we talk about everything on this show because it's all connected. I can't tell you how many conferences I've been to, whether they're UFO or they're paranormal, considered paranormal, which is ghosts. So they have a ghost conference, cryptid, Bigfoot, whatever. People always recognize me and talk to me. And I'll just sit there and just kind of watch and pay attention. And the people running these conferences are so scared when, that you're going to go up there and say something that's going to freak people out because, they got to keep everybody separate, and it's like, how stupid are you? Because this is now becoming its own genre. The cryptid paranormal is now becoming its own genre, or it already has. And I'm proud to say that we were, at the forefront of laying the groundwork, laying the foundation, laying the groundwork. And we are not the only ones that laid the groundwork. Y'all laid the groundwork to get us to where we're at. And when Marzulli interviewed me, and he had reached out to try to get me to talk about Dogman, whatever. And I was on his show a couple times. I've been on Clyde Lewis a couple times. They started reaching out to me about Dogman, and talking about this particular phenomena. But there is a whole world of other things, and it's all connected. All of it.
You've been instrumental in knitting all of this together, bro.
Bringing it together is the most important thing. It has to happen.
But I'm not sure. There's somebody up north that does boots to the ground that's just as important. So you better not forget about him.
Well, Dick's going to marry his sister, according to what he said.
Absolutely. 100%.
Oh, that's bringing you into this.
Yeah, no, I already said it was gonna
He
marry.
said he was going to. How did Sailor feel about that, though? I don't know if she's going to be okay with that.
Yeah, no, she'll be pissed.
You're going to have to break the news to her. Hey, I agreed to marry Miss Piggy. I'm sorry.
You got to make her understand.
She's very famous.
Cheetos.
It's just for a green card. It's transactionary.
Yeah,
It's a transaction.
it's a nasty shade of green, bro.
Yeah. Pea soup green.
Oh.
All right, boys. I gotta get to bed. Thanks again. I really appreciate it.
I'll see you guys. All right, later,
bro.
All right, guys. So I got to run too. It's been fun. I've had a good time tonight, but I got to go, man. I got to record. I got a couple of shows I got to record with people and get some things done.
Wow.
Don't forget, folks. Tomorrow night, it's the Patreon. Join the Patreon. I'm loving the Patreon. It's awesome. Wednesdays, we come back on Wednesday. We're going to talk about the Manus family. What happened to them in San Antonio? The giant, which was, we debated about it. It was a giant creature, but it was an incubus. Is what it was.
Really?
It's really what it was, yeah. And then we're going to talk on Thursday. We got the now tell me, is it a live stream or are we going to drop a pre-record on Thursday?
Thursday, I think should be. I believe it would be a pre-record, but I have to double check.
Yeah. So there's a pre-record on Thursday for the members only. Right. And we got to get that one out about the guy that astral projected, the military dude. That was but there's a bunch of them we got in the chamber, a bunch of them. And then Friday, what do we do? Friday is we recorded with Sage. So Sage Cooley's going to be on there talking about some phenomena in Washington, the state of Washington. Really interesting stuff. I had a good time, fun time recording with him. And then on Saturday, it's Wild Card Saturday. So we're gonna do this for you. We're thinking about dropping a pre-record on Saturday, just giving you a pre-record. Nice. And then Saturday, it's gonna be this 7 o'clock. Is it the pre-record? No, which one's first? The
pre-records, we dropped them at 7.
Okay, and then 8 o'clock is the
live streams.
No, Saturday, the TCP.
Oh yeah. I try to do the same time for that 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So TCP at 7 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock will be the show on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And we're either going to do a live stream or a pre-record on Wildcard Saturday. But don't forget, TCP, True Crime Paranormal, comes on.
That was an interesting episode.
It's going to be, the part 2 is going to be good too. It's going to be we're going to get into some real deep stuff. And then that's going to be every Saturday. And then anytime you want, you can go check out Dead Zone Transmissions. Subscribe, like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. And subscribe. Please give show Nelly some love and go subscribe to Dead Zone Transmissions. I'm really hoping that it breaks out because that is a really cool channel. Go check out Dead Zone Transmissions. And we keep talking about it, but we're actually going to do it. We're going to do some boots on the ground, if that's what you want to call it, for the what is it called?
Random files.
Random files. We're going to start doing some random stuff on there. It's called Random Files. We're going to talk about some stuff. And I'm going to do an economics show on there too, and a little bit of history. And I just talked to a couple friends of mine about writing, and Richard, you're one of them. And we're talking about writing a book about giants.
I got some good ideas written down here for some chapters as well.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to get into it. I got my stuff. You got your stuff. We put our heads together. Maybe we can come up with something. And awesome. So it's going to tie into another book about Native American legends and lore that I want to get done. It's all going to come together like one beautiful tapestry. And then back here on Sunday again, and we'll be talking, I think, on this coming Sunday, Dogman. So
nice.
Yep, we got a full week ahead of us, folks. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And we're gonna check out with the new song. We have it right. The theme song to the new channel TCPs. Well, I didn't coin that, but everybody's calling it that. True Crime Paranormal. So check us out. If you haven't seen, somebody can put the link to it in the chat. It is an awesome show. So you got it here. There it is.
These songs are great, dude.
Melly does a good job.
Absolutely. No, she's very talented.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
All right. I'll see you guys.
Good night, everybody. Love you. God bless.
God bless.
Did they snap, or was it normal? Each one different, but always the same. A monster and a game. Was it the thrill of watching life slip away? Or was it cowardly crave? Was it impulse or rehearsal? Did they snap, or was it was it impulse or rehearsal?